Hello, welcome to JAV Show. This is Jorge.
And this is Viv.
And this week we got a friend of a friend, Johnson, on the show.
I'm actually called Brad.
No, Brad.
Me?
Johnson.
No, bro, we're going with Brad.
All right, it's Brad. It's
I was
Brad
not the one
Johnson.
to break it this time. That was too fast.
I thought it was
How many minutes was that?
it was 23 seconds.
You want the mango?
All right. We're drinking this podcast because Brad brought us some drinks, and yeah, we're gonna have a chill night, and we'll just talk about random stuff.
It's actually a Friday night, too.
Yeah. So we'll start with how's your week? We'll start with Viv. Viv, how was your week?
It was pretty normal aside from stress from work.
Wait, what's up with the work nowadays?
Oh my god. Some of the people on my team have been shit in the bed essentially. And so I work for an IT company, and somebody on the other team made one of our bigger clients' entire network go down for a day. And so the client had to send all their staff home.
Whoa.
That's fucking crazy, right?
Wait, did they blame you guys?
No, it wasn't my team that did it.
Oh.
But then because of that, like my boss was like super stressed and super upset. And so he kind of like took it out on everyone else, which kind of pissed off everyone else too. So there's been like, so much shit with work.
This is where you go into hiding and just don't do anything for the next couple of days, and hopefully they forget.
Just, like slide on the table, you know? Well, other than that, my life's been pretty much the same. Work out, volleyball.
How's your knee? You had your knee issue for a while?
Oh yeah, my meniscus is sprained at the moment on my right knee. I've been doing physio for it, but it's been getting better so far. Slowly getting better.
How long does that take to recover? Because I know that meniscus tear can be pretty...
Yeah.
But it's a sprain, right?
It's only a sprain.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
They said up to 3 months,
That's still a long time.
which is quite a while.
Yeah. Wait, so what's up with volleyball then? With that sprain?
Oh, I wear my knee brace all the time. I have to tape my knee too.
How well can you play?
Like normally or right now?
I mean, like right now, compared to...
Right now, a little bit worse because I feel kind of scared to do sudden movements
Yeah.
or to move too fast and stuff. So it kind of impacts what I can do. But it is what it is.
I always tell myself that I should take the extra break.
I know, but I don't want to.
I know exactly how you feel. You're like, you've been through it, so you know if you take that extra week or two off, it like cuts back the extra month that you have to take to recover.
Yeah.
But then you just can't do it.
Yeah,
It's like-
I know. Yeah, when it almost feels like you're guilty by not doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
By taking the time to recover, it's like is my skills or whatever deteriorating? Because when I work out, it's like kind of like the same thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, should I try to push that rep? Oh, I just hurt myself.
Yeah.
Then I have to take the next 2 weeks off.
Dude, that's the most dangerous. I think working with other people is the most dangerous.
Yeah.
When you
Other people? Why?
Yeah, because you start going for the bro reps and stuff. Oh my god, the
I
bro
was just
sets,
gonna
the bro
say,
reps.
working out with other people makes it better because then they actually push you.
Yeah, push you into injury.
Spot you.
I don't know, man. You know, they're like, yo, for sure you can do more. For sure you can put another plate on.
I
And then you
squatted
do
the
it.
heaviest when I used to work out with other people. That's just
I think
scary.
okay. I'm not gonna like try to expose age or anything, but I think it's our age catching up to us.
Yeah, actually though.
Because back then I'd be like, okay, you know, you suffer a little bit with the bro sets, and then it's like a day or two that you're like dying, and then you're back to
No.
normal.
Listeners, don't listen to them. They just weak as hell. Putting age limit on it.
I can attest to that. I do not suffer that sort of old age injuries.
Right? Proper form. Leave your ego at the door and just lift.
Dude, at climbing's the worst.
Did you say what kind of climbing?
At climbing, it's
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah.
It's just there. Like you see your friend that can do it, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I think I can do this.
Yep.
And then you go hard, and then that's easy finger injury territory. So
Yeah. Or you like maybe you have like you reach or stretch out too much to kind of grab that one, and then you kind of pull something.
yeah, that's the rough one. I mean, I'm personally dealing with a finger injury now, but since my Mexico trip, it's been chilled. It's like
Nice.
it hasn't hurt as much, but I'm still gonna take another like week or two off just to make sure. It's so annoying having it. Just like any little thing I do is just freaking annoying. Having to grab with that.
Nice,
You haven't tried to do physio for it?
I did. She did the shockwave thing.
How did that go?
It was good. I mean, I think it's good, but it might be placebo too, so I have no idea. But I have been resting, so that obviously helps, right? But I think the shockwave therapy helped. And then she did a thing where I think it's called like Gaston method or something, where they grab or they use metal.
Graston?
No, they use like a metal spatula that's very specifically shaped, and they like help you push the. It's almost like wasa, so that's like a Chinese thing where you like, it's kind of like wasa.
I know what that is. I also
Isn't it called Graston?
I got.
Oh yeah, Graston. You're right.
I remember when I was a kid, when you know that coin.
Yes,
thing?
yeah.
I got CPS called on my mom.
Yeah.
They saw the marks on my back. They obviously thought I was getting beaten. Like
They called.
yeah, my teacher saw it. Like, hey, what's this? Oh, I obviously tried to describe it to them, but they don't understand what that is.
Yeah.
So they so my parents had to do an interview with the government workers or whatever they're called, and then to kind of explain what that was.
Dude, I feel like that's such a stressful situation for them. Like, I assume they're like immigrants here or something like that. Yeah, so their English isn't that well. And they're trying to explain like, hey, this age-old method of medicinal thing that we're doing.
Yeah,
that seems so. Oh, dude, that seems so stressful for your parents. You're like, I would promise we're not being your kid.
Yeah, because I was like 5 or 6 years old, so I didn't know what was going on. I thought they were just guests, just chilling.
Wait, so your parents used to use the coin?
Yep, the coin.
Oh,
I used to use a quarter too.
my I think when I was a lot younger, but then afterwards they started using the spoon, like a soup spoon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Soup spoon, and then sometimes like you know the sauce plate. You know how it's kind of small. They also use that one.
Plate?
No, the sauce plate.
Damn, that's next level.
Yeah,
like soy
like-
sauce and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll just use that.
You use
Yeah.
baking trays.
Here's a butcher knife. we'll just use the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen someone do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking
No, the handle of the
crazy.
butter knife.
Yeah, I think I saw a guy at the gym the other day. I usually go to the sauna after gym, and he had the marks all over his body, like
Damn.
front and back. I was like, dude, he must have had a crazy fever or something. I mean, that's usually what we do it for, right? I think
Yeah.
For the Asian or Eastern medicine, it's to release the heat.
Yeah.
I guess. So
By the way, it works because every single time I've had it done before, it really soothes my fever. So
Oh.
yeah,
Take
no.
that Western medicine.
yeah, exactly. Take that Western medicine.
Wait, do you guys does that help your fever dreams? Like, do you guys get fever dreams?
Fever dreams.
what?
What's the
Used to.
definition of a fever dream?
So like, when I have a fever, there's a specific dream that I always get, and it's the same one every time I have a fever. It doesn't happen every time I have a fever, but it only occurs when I have a fever, and it's the same dream.
What's the dream?
Oh, it's just dumb. It's just like me in a forest, and there's like some like conveyor belt machine, and then all of a sudden I wake up, but I'm still in a dream, and then I walk out here to like the living room, and I see my parents playing mahjong, and I just sit with them, and then all of a sudden I wake up. It's just like something, I don't know,
Interesting.
random.
Yeah.
And then, but it's this. So when I have a fever, it's the only time it'll show up. So I'll never have a dream outside of that.
Mm, yeah.
I dream, but since I'm 420 bladed every day, it's very hard to remember.
Oh,
That must be it.
wait, wait, Viv, do you dream a lot or?
I dream sometimes, but I don't really remember them often.
Oh, she 420.
I think I dream like 6 of the 7 nights every night.
Yeah.
So I have like a lot of dreams all the time. But
I do dream. It's just that I feel like everyone does dream, but they just don't remember it.
oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you were to
flavor is
describe what I dreamt last night, I obviously wouldn't be able to tell you. But if it was
It's what?
like 10 minutes after I woke up, then I would be able to tell you.
Yeah. Like there are some that like stick with me a bit more. And some of them I like purposely try to like remember right after.
Yeah, because those are some good movie ideas.
Yeah. No, it's not just good movie ideas. It's like good, just good ideas. In
Exactly,
general.
good ideas.
Just good ideas in general.
Sometimes that's why I think where a lot of the inspiration from movies do come from is from like dreams or at least hallucinations, and they just probably write it down while they're like after they slept, and then they make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
it's the who'shamacallit, the guy who made the periodic table. That's what he kind of theorized.
Really?
He said he slept, dreamed about it, and that's how he created the periodic
crazy.
table. I mean, it's still a bad system, but there's no better system currently, or none that they want to implement. So,
Then it's the best system.
Yeah,
currently.
that's what you would call the
But-
best
The
system.
best.
but it's similar to me. So like, I don't dream about any specific solution, but like if I was in university or even now at work, if there's like a hard technical problem, if I sleep on it and I wake up, I actually solve it pretty fast.
Yeah.
It happens quite often
You
for
get
me.
that when you take walks too, right?
Yeah. So for me, like when I work, I pace so much. Like I love at work. So like for this month, I'm working from home the whole month, but later I'll be back at work, and I have a standing desk, and it's great because, especially on meetings when it's a hardcore meeting, as in like there's less than 3 people. Because what I always think is, if there's more than 3 people, it's a useless meeting, as in like we're just reporting, not actually doing any work.
Yeah. I love that. That's the reason I like meetings.
Yeah. so then if it's less than 3 people, we're actually doing something, and then I'll have my wireless headset and I'll pace, and then that's like the juices are flowing, things are actually getting done at that moment.
Yeah.
That's the best. And then that and dreaming, I think, or not dreaming specifically, but sleeping.
Yeah. After some of those stressful days at work, when you're trying to finish something up, but you can't really just quite figure it out.
Yeah.
But then obviously you go to the gym or you do your routine at night, then you kind of relax, and then maybe it's not the best idea to dwell on stuff like that, especially if it's kind of like when you're off, but it's a good, but having that rest, honestly, sometimes you just solve the problem, and it's a lot more efficient than if you just try to brute force through the problem, than if you just kind of took the rest and then just kind of recuperate your energy and then go at it again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people always like feel that the solution's there, but it's like hidden behind some mist or something that you can't reach to if you kind of think of like an abstract way.
Yeah.
And then with like sleep or walking or just doing something that isn't so focused on finding it, I feel like that's what the most opportune time to find that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's like, I don't know, it's like God's way of saying, hey, you need some balance in your life.
Yeah, exactly. Take the rest, bitch.
Yeah, it's like you gotta do some other stuff to get better at the stuff that you want to get better at.
Exactly.
Just to chime in on that just a little bit, there are studies and reports of that, and it's really just based off of your stress levels. The more stressed you are, the more mental bandwidth it kind of occupies, and you're only, from what the studies show, you have like 1 to 7 things you can keep in your head and think about at the same time. So when you're less stressed, so when you're sleeping and you're doing the exercise and all that stuff, getting that blood flow to the brain, people tend to perform a lot better. So generally speaking, it's usually us that gets in our own way when we're exhausted and we've just been looking at a problem at the same time. Sometimes you just got to move out of it and give it some time, let it marinate. And then when you come back, usually you'll have the solution.
Actually, speaking of which, I think it's big on decision and that anxiety. So like when people have
Anxiety,
to,
really?
yeah. So like people, for example, you're about to buy a car. There's 3, 4, 5 different options, and you're really anxious of it, and you can't make a choice. That's actually like a mental toll on you.
Choice paralysis.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So then like
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah. So sometimes like you have to kind of balance how much potential money you'll save or value you'll gain to the actual time you waste on that, paralysis by analysis, all that stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why for simple things, I'm always very like quick to say like, you just do this. Like if it's the wrong answer, it doesn't matter. It's just fucking dinner for tonight. You know what I mean? Right? It's like there's no wrong answer, or even if it is, whatever, it is what it is. It's better than just like you asking your girlfriend or boyfriend like, what do you want for dinner, right?
I heard a hack for that is to be like, oh, I brought you someplace special, like where you've always wanted to go. I know exactly what you're craving today. Can you guess? And whatever they say first.
KFC!
Oh, exactly that. Oh my God, how'd you know?
Dude, for me, I don't know. I always feel like, I want to ask someone else for their opinion. Like if I were to go out with you, we have to go eat or something. But in my back of my mind, I already know what I want. so then I'll wait till you give an answer, and then I'll give my answer. Right
no?
How about blank?
Yeah.
No. Oh, you're right. That's all my ideas.
All right, so I'm gonna go home.
I feel like I used to get that a lot, but now it's just like I know exactly what I want, or like the first thing that pops up, I was like, nah, let's just do it.
And sometimes, if you're the first to say something, people just kind of like go with what you are going with.
Yeah.
Like probably everyone probably the same thing. I don't really care. And then if you just suggest things you do want, maybe they'll just tag along.
This kind of segues nicely into topics we've been talking about a lot, right?
Like what?
Like relationships and like the standards that people have for each other and expectations and stuff. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I go on a date, right, I don't see the date as a benefit for me. It's always been a thing that I try to cater to the other person. So when it comes to like figuring out what kind of restaurant or where you want to go, my head is completely blank. It's just whatever the hell you want to do, I'm down with it. So maybe there's other people that don't.
Yep.
Maybe there's some other people that think like that, but I've noticed in my own life and people around me, it's always been that kind of mentality. So for a lot of the guys, We have no idea what the hell. We don't really care. Like, you're talking to creatures that would eat like mac and cheese or like canned beans and like chill in their room. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're disgusting creatures. So it's all about what do you want, the person that we're trying to court.
Yeah. If I'm
so when a girl is like, you know, for me anyways, I'm straight. So if a girl went, if I was taking a girl out and she doesn't know what to do, then we're both starting at 0.
Wait,
Interesting.
do you think this is different for gay relationships?
David, can you chime in?
Your experience.
Well, I have no idea.
Yeah, I wonder.
I would assume so. There has to be a power dynamic that leads one to go one way and one
One to
the
be
other
more
way.
masculine.
Is that specific to gay and straight relationships? What do you think?
I feel like at the same time, if you do have something on your mind, I feel like if your date doesn't like that, I feel like that's a good way to figure it out if you're compatible already or not. Because I know you're trying to cater to someone, but at the same time, if they're not, I feel like I know it's only just dinner, but I feel like that sort of sets the whole relationship up for the dynamic that you are going to maybe have at that point.
What if you said, let's go for sushi, and she was like, shit, I already ate sushi for like 3 times this week. Can we go somewhere else? Would you be like, fuck no, sushi every day and die?
Yeah. Exactly. No, it's either Korean barbecue or hot pot.
You have one more chance.
Yeah, exactly. You have 2 choices: hot pot or Korean barbecue, or maybe sushi.
Drizzle. You know what? I don't care too much about like the choice of food because every day is a little bit different depending on like how your day's been, how your week's been and stuff, right? Some days I don't want certain foods, so I don't ever put that on the lady. I think I usually figure out compatibility through conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd rather have a place where like I can have an actual real conversation with someone as a date as my personal preference. But if you want to go to like clubs and all that kind of shit, that's my time to be like, you know what? You go do that shit for your first date. Like I'm good. Like I'm not
Who
for
goes
you.
to a club for a first date?
I don't fucking know, man.
20-year-olds, 18-year-olds.
18-year-olds, right? Like I've heard stories of that when I was like around high school, 18, 19 and stuff, but I don't know, man. I just want a conversation. If I can't have a conversation with you, I think that's
Red
we
flag.
can't have a relationship. I think like conversation, communication is like the root of everything, like the foundation for everything. So if we can't have a conversation, especially in a public place too, like I need to also know if you can act right.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna take you places,
That's
like
true.
you're a representation of me.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You know what I mean?
Want someone that will embarrass you.
That too, yeah. So like I don't want to, and then vice versa too, right? Like I don't ever want to act in a way where if I go to your place and where your reputation's on the line, like I'm out of pocket. Like I can't do that. So that's literally like really all my requirements. Can I have a conversation with you and can you act right? Right.
Interesting.
What's so interesting about that?
No, it's just like everyone's main. Would you say that's your like main requirement?
For a
That you
date.
look
Communication?
for? Yeah.
I think it's one of like a list of things, and I haven't sat down and wrote this list out or anything, but like there is standards. Like I don't care what anyone says. There are expectations. There are standards. Okay, everyone has them. Everyone has. It may vary from one person to the other, but everyone has a standards. Maybe unfortunately for me, I have a really high standard because I don't know. Like the family name means something to me. Both like mine and my partner's family means something. There's like power in that, right? So I don't want to date someone who ignores that or lessens that or views that as like insignificant. Just in my life, in my anecdotes, like that meant something.
Damn, we can't
So
date.
you got to be able to act right. Now I'm not trying to be like tyrannical or anything, but like don't be out here like thoughting out in shit in public and having everyone like see that shit. It's like, yo, that tarnishes the name. Like, what are you doing?
You can't fuck with the fam, then you can't fuck with her.
No, you can't fuck with legacy, man. Legacy's everything, man. You won't catch me with a thought or nothing. Y'all can have that.
But wouldn't that be like that's? Do you relate that? Do you associate that to personal legacy or family legacy then? Because like, for example, for me, like my parents were immigrants that came here, and their parents were immigrants that went to Vietnam. So like they've already changed their last name like 2 or 3 times, right? From wherever the original Genghis Khan offspring came from, right? So
That's
then,
the same with me too, by the way.
yeah. So then it's like for me, it's like it's not really like it's personal reputation that does matter to me. I think to everyone that matters. But then family, it's kind of like like I know some friends who do have a very significant last name and family name and stuff. But then for me, it's like I kind of have a peasant last name. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
whatever.
Okay. So I would just I'll clear this up a little bit. I don't mean like a powerful family name as in one that has a lot of wealth and influence and all that kind of stuff. That's not, more personally, I just mean like your last name means something. And for me, that belief derives from the fact that I know my family history. I know we were peasants. I know we struggled during the war. I know that my mom and dad came here as refugees. And before my dad was even like my age at 32 right now, he had 6 mouths to feed and a wife that was probably ungrateful at that point. Right? And that here we are.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, that struggle, it wouldn't, if I didn't put an emphasis on that last name, I would be dishonoring all the struggles that they've been through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
If I just live for
I see what you
myself,
mean.
if I live for myself right now, and just everything just for me, I feel like that would be just ignoring the journey here.
Yeah. No, I mean,
And you know, maybe it's just a cope because maybe I haven't found an individual purpose, and this is just an easy purpose, just to work for family. It could be that too, but I do think that like that family name, if you understand the journey to get here, and you know the fight, and you know how hard it was and how long that fight was, I do think that that's a name that's worthy of like standing the test of time versus someone who just had everything passed on and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So to me, that is important, and I think that a partner, again, for me personally, like a partner has to understand that
Right.
the last name means something, not just mine, but your own too. Like you have to have some self-worth, right?
Yeah, I mean, like it's pride, but pride can be used for good and bad. So that's
Yeah,
like a good,
that's kinda true.
good direction for that, right? So
Yeah.
I mean,
And so we were talking about relationship. Where are we getting onto again?
Oh shit, I forgot, bro.
Expectations. My bad.
Expectations.
Viv, I would love to hear your expectations when it comes to dating, and what the female perspective is when it comes to dating, and the dangers
Yeah, exactly.
and pitfalls
Exactly.
and red
What exactly?
flags and all
What
that
are you?
stuff.
What are you?
Holy shit, there's so much to answer.
What are you
Yeah,
looking?
so-
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go with David's question first. I was gonna ask you if what's like the thing you look for, but I feel like that's kind of already going like exactly. It's already kind of going where you were kind
I
of
think it's
going
important
to.
too, man.
Okay, so the thing that I value the most would be organic chemistry. I don't really care. I'm not the type of person that really cares to put in effort towards looking for a relationship or getting a relationship, because I personally believe that you should be fully okay if you eventually like die alone forever, because like you're on this
Yeah, that's
because you were born.
You're going on some sad boy bullshit.
No, like, no, not in a sad way at all. More like you were born in this world as like a single person on like planet Earth, so you should be okay to handle yourself
I'm not
as
that.
a full-grown adult individual person. And I feel like if I put emphasis on finding someone to like marry, be my person for the rest of my life, then, and to me that's something that you can't control. Like you can't be like, all right, by the end of this year or the end of this month, I'm gonna find the love of my life. I feel like that's not something you can control. So because it's not something I can control, I don't put like emphasis on it, and I don't make it like a goal of mine.
Yeah.
Because imagine if I like never find somebody that I've thought was the one or whatever, then I would spend my whole life thinking that I was lacking something.
Yep.
And then, so I feel like if I don't put that as a goal, then I'll never feel that kind of lack. And I'll feel like I'm fully okay being independent for the rest of my life. Now, with that idea, I feel like what matters to me is organic chemistry. So if I meet someone and I feel like I naturally click with them, then I'll let it go wherever it naturally would go. Because I would imagine that if you found somebody that naturally clicks with you enough to be your quote unquote person, then it should happen organically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of look for when I talk to people, I guess, in general, or when we're talking about dating. I wouldn't necessarily like try to move a conversation a certain way or try and ask them about things like that. I feel like we should naturally just click, and our conversations should go in a way where it's like respectful. We share the same values. We share the same kind of like mindset on how to carry yourself, like what you were saying, David, and stuff like that.
wait, you don't believe in K-dramas? You guys have to like hate each other first?
I love K-drama.
fall in
Be
love with
stupid
them?
K-pop.
Stupid right now. Okay, I got a question for you then. So it seems to me that it's more of a. Do you believe in finding love or building love?
If I were to pick between the two, I would say building.
Yeah, I honestly
Because-
straight up, I honestly think the reason why relationships suck nowadays is that they're focused on the first one, where it's because honestly, if you're quote unquote finding love, all you're really just looking for is someone you're attracted to physically. That's it. Because like love at first sight really just means I like the way this person looks.
Fair.
But if you're building love, it's more substantial in that sense because you're looking past that and you're making concerted effort to sort of make it happen, if that makes sense.
So it seems that everyone agrees, at least on this table, and I think most people are reasonable as well, and they would say that building a love is more lasting and something more profound.
I hope
right?
so, anyways.
Okay. With that being said, how the hell do you figure that out during your first date? Because what you're saying is meaning that you've already kind of invested a commitment into someone to kind of discover if they are that, if they have the building blocks at the very least.
That's what
to
a
be
second
that
date
good
is good
person.
for.
It could be that, but maybe on the first date though. So this is the part where I want to know what qualifies. Like, what do females look at that makes them feel that whatever traits that or whatever observations they've had in their first date leads them to believe that they have the building blocks to have that lasting relationship. There has to be something that everyone looks at that maybe us guys are completely missing.
Yeah.
We have our own criteria
Exactly,
when we look at a female
exactly.
partner as well as to be the one that's going to be our queen, right? So
I
what
mean-
is the female equivalent of that?
Do you have something to say,
I
Mr.
mean-
Female?
Yeah, as a proud transgender female.
Or whatever females tell you. Like,
Wait,
passing.
so I mean, I feel like you're getting very intense to what you want, but I feel like the female, or even me, sometimes I would just look at what I don't like, and if it doesn't show up, in the first date,
exactly.
then you go for the
I-
second or third.
I
Right?
feel like
that
for
could be a
guys,
way.
it's we're basing our chemistry on what we don't like, while women are looking for what they do like.
I mean,
It's a,
Whoa, I would actually agree. Or for myself personally.
okay. Yeah.
I would see what's clicking. And if I feel like, okay, we naturally don't click, even as like, okay, if I was to meet with a complete other stranger and just naturally just talking, being like, oh, hey, okay, I guess it wouldn't be a blind date, but like just talking off the bat, I feel like if you naturally didn't click, then I'd be like, why the fuck would I want to see you a second time?
Reveal. That's why.
I can't even be your friend, dude. I can't even make small talk with you. That's so painful.
you tell me Korean dramas aren't real?
Yeah, exactly. We're not just like walking by the bus station and just like taking one glance at each other.
Okay, I've had a few Korean drama moments before too.
Wait, okay, so I actually don't watch really Korean
Yeah, me
drama.
neither. But I know how they are. I've watched
None of you
them
guys had
too much
like that
K-pop shows.
K-pop moment.
No,
Like nothing.
okay, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the moment you're talking about, but I do know the whole like you meet someone that you don't actually are interested at first, but then you slowly get to know them and then you grow that bond and then you get interested in them.
Nah. I'm talking more cheesier, more immediate, more like setup situations.
Have some,
But
like,
if you don't hate them at
You
first,
have a cough
know-
and it's a little bloody, so you go to a doctor's and you fall in love with the doctor there. But then you have to like go to school abroad.
like you mean like the 20-year-old handsome doctor.
Or like when you go into the elevator and then, you know, both of you guys are in there alone and it like kind of breaks out and you just have to talk to each other, you know what I mean?
Press the button at the
Press a
same
button, you
time.
freak out, and then like the guy finds a way out and the girl falls in love. Maybe they hate each other in the elevator, but they keep meeting each other after. Like I'm talking those moments.
No, but isn't at first it's always like the two characters don't like each other, and then like halfway through the drama, you know, something clicks. And shit.
Yep.
I feel like
That's lady.
Isn't that K-drama?
Like,
I'm talking K-drama moment, not K-drama
I see, I
series.
see.
you're talking about Queen of Tears, Alvin.
Is that the only like no other K dramas like this?
That's very much
Oh, yeah, I
like Queen
did.
of Tears.
So there's no other dramas where the two main characters hate each other first.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. There's so many.
There's so much.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel
That's
okay.
like the most easiest romantic trope there is, man.
Yeah,
By
yeah,
the
yeah.
way,
Like that's classical Beauty and the Beast.
exactly.
Right, that's classic.
Rom-coms, honestly, are really fun to watch, except until maybe like the last third where it gets all kind of like sappy. But honestly, the first part of rom-coms tend to be really super funny.
I don't
I
know.
love rom-coms.
Yeah.
I love Upside, so I don't know. That was fire throughout. Fire throughout.
I'll put that on my thing to watch.
I love corny rom-coms too. So the last one I watched was Anyone But You. I thought it was so fucking good.
Which one's that one about?
It's pretty new. I think it's like a year old.
Anyone But You.
Has
Okay.
Sydney Sweeney in it.
Oh, okay.
And,
I'll watch Sydney Sweeney then.
No, but
And whatever other.
I have a thing. I
Sorry,
always like Christmas rom-com. There's always one that comes out at
Yes.
Christmas
Yeah.
time all the
Yeah.
time, and I always watch. It's the cheesiest shit in the world.
Fucking love it.
Sorry, I wanna make a correction. It's not Upside. It's Set It Up.
Set it up. Okay.
Set It Up. The wrong.
He's in Anyone But You.
Set it up.
Yeah.
See this,
What's his name? I always forget his name.
know. He has a punchable face though.
Anyone
I
but
fucking
you.
hate his face.
Glenn
I-
Powell.
What's the movie called?
Right?
Set It Up.
Okay, set it up.
Glenn Powell. There you go.
Oh,
I also watched Set It Up after watching Anyone But You.
He's in.
I love Zoe Deutch though. I love Zoe.
I only know him from Twister. You watched the movie Twister?
This is the one.
It's the Disney-esque tornado movie.
Oh shit.
It's pretty good. Twister.
This movie, Anyone But Us, has all of your classic cheesy ass fucking rom-com shit. But it's new.
I feel
so
like
I love
I feel
it.
like this movie Twister is like is an oldie. It's like
No,
classic.
it just came out.
Oh, real?
This
Okay.
Twisters is 2024.
Yeah, that's just
Okay.
And that's with Glenn Powell. And it's like if Disney made a
Look at-
tornado movie.
Look at
That's
Glenn
what it'd be
Powell's
like.
smile and his shitty little dimples. I want to punch his
Let's
face
see.
so fucking
yeah, I'll
hard.
put him up.
Blow it up.
I don't know what. Like, look at his smug, like I'm better than you smile. Like I want
honestly,
to punch him.
Honestly,
Is it from Top Gun? Is that why?
just
He was
nice,
he was the
dude.
bat or he was
Oh,
the
I'm-
antagonist in Top
Oh,
Gun.
really?
I'm sure he's
yeah,
a great man.
He does look like he has that kind of face where he's like an asshole.
No, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he's a great man, a community provider, a swell partner, and all that stuff. But that face, though.
Yeah, he looks-
Oh my god, I want to kick his teeth in.
Wait, you
that's
know-
like the poster child of like fucking
Well,
whatever.
white privilege.
Yeah, of what it was. Like, this is what Hitler imagined when he thought about the Aryan race. Like, this is that fucking poster child. I want to kick his teeth in.
Maybe not. Maybe he looks like American guy.
Okay.
Dude,
So you're walking in the mall, you're having a really nice day.
Yeah.
It's a great day, like everything's going perfectly fine. You're like, oh, I'm feeling really happy, really generous today. You walk by a Make-A-Wish Foundation sign. And you see his face on there. You've never seen him act in any other movies. Would you be like, this guy looks like he deserves, his last final wish? Or would you say that guy looks like he has a punchable face?
I'm gonna keep it real. He has a punchable face, regardless. And again, it's not personal. Like, this is clearly a me problem. Maybe it's an insecurity problem, right? I don't know what it is. It's clearly a me problem. He's done nothing wrong. But that smile, I swear to God, if I saw that smile, if I saw him in like the mall or something, yes, I will be friendly, but I would bring it up. The same way when I met Owen Wilson, I would bring up his nose thing. I would do a bunch of wow fucking noises, which I did. True story. I would mention that he has such a punchable face and I want to punch it. How does he cope with that? Does he understand that people have this visceral, irrational reaction to his face?
Bro,
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's so
He probably won't think about you at all.
It's almost like cuteness aggression. Who are these successful, beautiful fucking people?
So fucking beautiful.
Oh my god, I hate you.
dude, if he was born 5 years earlier, he may have been Captain America.
Yeah, I think so too.
No way.
Oh,
Get the
okay.
fuck at- Y'all
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I think this guy looks better than Chris Evans.
I think
Chris Evans is not a whole nother level.
No, he's not.
Look at these. You all don't understand the nuances of beauty. Chris Evans is
do.
an angel.
Okay, I'm
No,
not
he isn't.
someone that normally goes for physical looks, but Chris Evans is actually pretty attractive.
Dude, him and the Hemsworth brothers? Are you kidding me?
I can see why Hemsworth might be good.
Yeah.
looking.
Oh my god, I'm straight, but I'd give them
Okay.
the
Alright,
Okay.
search up Theo James.
You don't
He
think
is also,
you don't think
like,
these
so good.
pictures are kind of similar?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Do you know who I
Two
do?
white men. That's the only thing that they have.
Do you know who I don't kind of get? Jason Momoa.
What?
I can't like girls really like that guy.
He's an absolute unit of a
I know.
man. He's a specimen.
Yeah, they're, like,
Long,
physically.
gorgeous. Yeah, of course. What do you think women like?
No, but I'm talking about like facial wise, because that's kind of. I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like that's what But then again, I'm not a girl, so
Yeah, Jason Momoa. Yes, as a
Jason
guy,
Momoa.
I can understand his appeal. Beautiful
Okay.
man, looks super chill, big
He's-
bulk, rich, luscious hair.
that's kind of
gorgeous
true.
body.
The hair thing
You
is
know
like
what I mean?
legit.
Symmetrical
He's,
face, hair is just there. He has that scar on the side that makes it look like, ooh, I'm a little mysterious and I have a little bit of danger to me. Like, I understand why girls like him.
He's man bun mixed with
Oh,
Thor.
he's everything.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Are you
That's true,
serious?
that's true.
Man
You know
bun
what?
mixed with
That guy
Thor.
looks like he
I can dig it.
understands.
I can see it.
He looks like he knows the Karma Sutra like forwards and backwards. Like, are you serious? Like, this
Yeah,
guy
that's
is
true.
peak man. I
That's
understand
true.
why women
You know what?
love him.
That's true. I'm looking at that picture where he has where he has no facial hair, and I can kind of see why his face is attractive. That one. That's the one.
I can see why people find him attractive, but for me personally, it doesn't do anything. If he were to come up to you, David, and try and like, I don't know, swoon you,
I'm
Raise you up.
tossing the booty pipe. I'm
sick,
tossing the booty pipe.
sick.
All right. If he wants to give me the battering ram, I'm giving it. Okay.
This isn't the alcohol talking, guys. This is not the alcohol
Look at
talking.
that. That's a story I can tell my friends. No matter what they achieve in their life, it'd be like, yeah, but did you get pegged by Jason Momoa? I didn't think so.
No Diddy.
No Diddy. Of course, no Diddy. That's the straightest thing ever. It's just straight
Roll up in a
flex.
wheelchair to your friends. Let me tell you guys the wildest thing I did this weekend.
I was in Hawaii. Yeah, that'd be wild.
I'm gonna drink some of this vodka.
Okay, I'm gonna drink
He's crazy.
one. You want more?
Search up Theo James.
Yeah,
Theo
let's see
James.
Theo James. Cause I'm thinking of Theo Vaughn.
Keep it real, guys. Y'all would give.
Nah.
You know what?
Nah.
You know what vibes he gives me? Paul Walker.
Yeah.
I fucking love Paul Walker.
Yeah, he gives me the Paul Walker vibes.
You.
He
In
does look.
school, I was gonna make him my phone screen background, but then I thought it'd be kind of weird to have a deceased person.
Yeah, exactly.
like, yo,
You're like
hands
a
up.
like a witch.
Like Paul Walker when he had the long curly-ish hair, kind of looks like.
Oh, like that
this.
classic 90s.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 90s.
Like the Backstreet Boys type
Boys
of
and
thing.
Sync look and
Yeah,
stuff. Oh, I miss that dude.
Yeah.
He gave white
Rip-
people the courage to go up to Asian women and ask them out. And
Rip in
fucking-
peace.
He's a legend. He's an icon.
Damn.
He made the Skyline R34 iconic.
I think he's badass. Oh, feels bad. It's been so long.
Do you know what I should have done? I feel like I should have traveled to Japan when it was like Tokyo Drift era. You know,
Oh, that would have been fucking
yeah,
sick.
exactly.
Imagine you were at Shibuya Crossing when they did that one scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They technically didn't get any legal rights to do it, but they just did it anyway.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we'll just pay for the fines.
Yeah, exactly.
Afterwards. We need this fucking scene. So imagine if you were fucking there. That'd be sick.
Yeah, exactly. Straight up. Because remember, what I say to like, time is also kind of a location. 2024 Japan is not the same thing as 2010 or 2005 Japan. So I feel like you know what I mean, right? So go to experience life not only by place but also by time.
Well, that's a really good.
I mean, your
That's deep.
your accessibility changes too.
That's true,
Like they would
that's
have
true.
less like English signs, less.
Y'all are ambitious.
And my
tourist.
broke ass being like a young ass kid.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true
Gotta
too.
go to Japan.
Y'all ambitious thinking you can be on that set. I would have been happy being one of the flag girls that were like,
I
settle.
would be happy being a freaking.
You guys are ambitious for being one of the background people. I want to be the girl in the front, dead center, middle. I want a full 2 seconds of my face on the main.
That's a little bit too
that's
ambitious.
possible. Have you seen my face? I could pass as a pretty cute chick with a wig.
Yeah, maybe put a wig on you.
Put a wig on. Yeah, I got that.
Actually, when
Shit.
Fast and Furious 2 came out, I feel like their standards of beauty were a lot different then.
They were.
That was
I-
when
yeah.
Steve Aoki's sister or stepsister was the
His
girl.
half daughter.
No, it's his sibling was, I think.
No, I think it's his daughter.
What's
No, you're right.
Suki Aoki, I think is her
Yeah,
name.
Yeah.
she's a comedian too.
Or Devin Aoki. Okay.
Okay. Who is she?
She.
Yeah, no. Okay, I see her around, but like,
S2000.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
like, what is she like? Who's her relation to Steve Aoki?
I think they're siblings
Okay,
of some
okay.
sort.
Yeah, it was her daughter.
No, her parents are Rocky Aoki and
shit.
someone else, and then her sibling
married
is Steve
2011.
Aoki.
Ain't no way this
Yeah.
girl's
Brad, what that means is
There's no way she's 42. That means Steve Aoki must be like fucking
bro.
retired.
I mean, he could have been a teen dad.
It'd be rough. It'd be right.
Straight up, imagine if you had a teen kid while you're a teenager yourself. You can like actually hang out with your kid. Like
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
yeah.
I know
I don't know.
people
I'd probably be
like
down with hanging out with my own kid. Like people
having
like 20.
kids at like junior high and shit.
I know one.
I know a few.
I don't keep in touch with them. Just
Yeah.
'cause, you know.
Of course, man. They're different. Can we admit that when people have like kids, they're just different now? Like they're not fun anymore. You can't hang
Yeah.
out with them. They kind of become unreasonable too. They kind of become like robotic.
They do. They get stuck in a routine,
Yeah.
which obviously makes sense.
I mean, it's
but-
rough. I think.
I mean, like, it makes sense to stay in a routine,
Yeah.
but sometimes, like, even if you ask them to go do something that's
For, like,
within-
10 minutes,
yeah,
15
something
minutes,
at all,
yeah.
right? They'll always use that, like, that kid and
Yeah,
parenting
I
thing as an
don't
excuse to
like
get
that
out.
either.
I
So,
feel
like-
like the amount of energy they have remaining is just so.
It's
Low.
it's giving oldie.
Yeah,
It's giving
Oh
old
my
head.
god, I can imagine. Sometimes I hang out with my on a rare occasion I hang out with my nieces and nephews,
It's draining.
and just a couple hours I'm fucking drained.
Are you
Yeah.
Even if I'm having fun, I'm so drained, insanely drained.
Dude,
I shall test this hypothesis myself, for I will be becoming uncle soon, and then I will see how it works, and then I will report back with the results scientifically.
It's-
Well, as an uncle
It's very
myself, I can say that when I'm hanging out with my nephew, shit's super relaxing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
We kind of just
maybe.
like I don't know. Maybe because I'm not the parent, right? Like you're
Yeah,
right.
that's
I don't have
true.
to pick up for him. I don't have to do
You gotta
that
be
for
the
that
cool
long period,
uncle,
right?
the
I'm that
cool
that
guy.
2 minute, that 2 minute dad, 2 minute uncle kind of vibe, right? But I never found it exausthen.
I mean, it depends on their age, right?
Yeah,
that's
like
true.
I think like
In the beginning,
0
it
to
sucks.
3, okay, 0 to 6 months, they
Sucks.
don't do much, and then 6 months to like 3 years old, it's like you have to constantly take care of them, right?
and then it's like a peak, and then it goes,
Yeah.
goes down again when they get a little bit older.
Yeah, like when they become a little bit self-sufficient, like they can walk, they can go, they're potty trained and stuff like that. Then it starts to get a bit easier, right?
And then it goes up again once they become teenage years.
yeah.
It's so exhausting for the first couple hours. It's kind of hard to imagine doing that for at least a whole year and a half
Yeah.
until they start doing things a little bit more autonomously.
Like their brain is mush. Like as a parent, so that's why I can kind of like understand the situation they're in, that they don't want to do anything else but just like focus on this because they're so tired all the time.
Yeah.
So I give new parents a pass, obviously, because in the beginning it's the most crucial. I'd say even in the first 3 years are like the most crucial because you got to socialize the kid, all that other stuff, right? I'm talking about people who, when their kids are old enough, anyways, they still continue that lame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing, though. I say lame because of my current perspective, right? But I mean,
bunch of fucking lames.
yeah, but it's like their unwillingness to be adventurous now, the unwillingness to experience new things. It's just this settling at home and settling with just the current friendships that you have now. Like you just stop being.
You stop growing.
Yeah, you stop growing as a person, even though you can throw any excuse out there, work, family, and all that stuff. But I know people who have all the free time in the world, everything, but they just default back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's to the point where it's not just like one or two people, but like a quite a significant minority of people that I know that are like that now. And to me, it's just always kind of confusing. Maybe as myself, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But I just don't know what kind of switch kind of flicks up when they become a parent that kind of makes you become that way.
Maybe it's because of low testosterone, because maybe.
I agree.
No, I'm serious. Like, because when you're young and full of like energy, because hormones do play a part, and like your youthfulness does play a part, and your physicality and like all that other stuff, like you want to go out and do things and try new things, but when you're kind of older, it just your biology doesn't quite match with your personality anymore, and then you just kind of like fall into that sort of habit and routine.
That makes sense.
I would agree for when it, like your point, David, for when it comes to myself and how I feel like even if I were a mother, I would still want all the other parts of my personality and all the other parts of my life because I was also like a lot of other things before I was a mother.
Exactly.
But what if, I feel like that only applies to me though. What if for somebody else, their entire, like everything they've ever dreamed of was to be a mother?
Okay.
So what would you say
Okay,
then?
okay, that's different. That's different though.
It's a little different. But then you know what? I would also look at what they do in the capacity and the role as a mother. Like if you say your dream was to be the best mom ever, but then you see some people kind of default to, put the DVD in the DVD player, let the kid watch it, and then you kind of just do your own thing, and then they just kind of end up looking like overstuffed sausages over the years, right?
Okay.
So, and to the point of Johnson as well, like with the age thing, like I know people who had kids young, right?
Yeah.
And then they still resort to that same behavior as one of the older people who had kids as well. So I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's something that's maybe you're conditioned to believe or conditioned to act a certain way the moment you become a kid. But like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, for instance, if you're a young mother and you have a kid, for some reason, society shames you for going to the club or going out to have fun. For instance, right? Like if you're
honestly,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's okay. That's kind of true a little bit. Like if you try to have your own personality,
outside of that role,
then suddenly you're a bad person. I kind of
bad
see
mom, bad like
so
whatever. Right?
So I kind of get what you mean. Where if you're doing anything but being a parent, then suddenly you're like the bad guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Comments?
I don't know. I think they're just risk averse.
I think
That's the thing. It's just like they
That's
just.
a little bit part
It's
of
like I think it's part of PTSD and risk averse. Like maybe they're PTSD of having a kid and shit.
Ain't no fucking way I ain't getting PTSD for having a kid.
like as in, like something happened to the kid at some point from baby to now. With all kids that happens, and they're just more risk averse at that point.
Yeah.
Right. And then like potentially going out and doing all these things to them is now a risk because they haven't done it for like 5 to 10 years. Right.
Yeah.
So then they're. Yeah.
I can see it in two ways. I can see it in the perspective that agrees with the, okay, why are you partying if you just had a baby and you're a 16-year-old mom? Yeah. And it would be like, okay, you had a baby at an age that you perhaps weren't prepared to have a baby. You can't financially or mentally support the baby because you're just a little bit too young to support the baby and raise a kid as your own. So maybe you should focus on that because this is reality. You can't take back having a kid. You need to make sure this and everything else that you're now thrown into is very stable. I can see that part. But I can also agree with the part that's like, okay, if maybe this was an accident or maybe this wasn't planned, because I don't think a lot of like 16-year-olds say, I am going to have a baby this year.
Yo, bro, there are some people out there. There are some people out there
crazy. But let's say it would happen on accident, okay? I would imagine that on the flip side of this argument, imagine that, okay, you're actually like doing the best you can as a 16-year-old. All your grades are up. You're also working a part-time job. You work really hard. You're doing everything right. You just made a mistake. Then at that point, it's also like, okay, why can't you be a human in other ways? Why can't you have all your other passions as long as you're maintaining the responsibilities that you have? So I can see both sides for this.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm still on the latter point. Like, you can be more than said mother, said title that people put on you.
Or maybe
that.
it's because we only say that because we're guys.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even check my privilege. You know what?
Yeah, I didn't check my privilege.
That's so my fault. You know what? I take everything back. You know what? Y'all do what you need to do. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I'm drunk. That's my fault.
I would also agree. I feel like, obviously, I can't speak as an experience for a guy, but as an experience for a girl, I feel like a lot of girls feel a lot of pressure to be a certain way, or else society will kind of like look down on you. So if you have a kid, you expect that the mom will like know everything about the kid, take over everything,
exactly.
Know the kid's like everything to a T, be able to supply every single need for the kid, and to a degree, the dad can kind of like slack off.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I don't know your teacher's name.
Bro.
What's your blood type again?
For any woman out there, just understand that David understands, and I wouldn't know what the fuck I would do as a father too. Okay,
Brad's
in there with you. I'm not above you. I'm not below you. I'm right there with you.
Brad's gone, bro. I'm out of here.
Or like
man.
a dad could be like, I don't know what your favorite color is of the day.
I don't know what your birthday is.
What if it's since you're saying it happens so often and so common, then what if it's more of a biological thing than anything, right? Not a social or a cultural thing, but like we've had 10 to 20,000 years of females getting pregnant at 16 or younger.
Probably 200,000.
Actually,
for a long
5,000.
time. It's only the last.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah, friggin' Bible thumping.
It's only the last like 100
Alright, you guys hear about the
years that it's really been
Sumerians
different,
and
right?
Globe Teke?
Oh yeah,
Tepe?
yeah.
Could be a lot longer.
Yeah. So
what's this? The global tepe.
it's pretty much like a potential lost civilization that was way before. So everyone thinks civilization started like America, Europe's, and then moved to North America and South America. But that one is like a potential theory that there's civilization that did start in South America, and then got wiped out, and then another
They
civilization.
became like insanely civilized and technologically
No,
advanced
not insanely technologically advanced, but insanely civilized. Yes, correct.
like to a degree that doesn't make sense to
Well, what are these
Yeah.
people called again?
So this is in Göbekli Tepe, and
Göbekli Tepe.
Tepe. Yeah, it's
Sounds
it's in South America.
Sounds very like Atlantis, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very very similar.
Okay.
Yeah. But
And is that the name of the society or is that the name of the people?
This is the name of the ruins they found.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the ruins they found. So this is like the whole Graham Hancock and his
It's
thing.
like the Salmon.
Well,
I've been
it's-
going down a fucking
Wait, what-
wormhole about this.
I know too much about world history to.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts about it, but it's pretty much like the whole theory is the Younger Dryas, which is like a mass comet that hit the Earth that went from ice age to mass flooding that killed everyone,
Yeah.
and then a subset of the amount of people left survived and continued the civilization. And then that's their like hypothesis is that these people created all these other things. Now the argument isn't that they're like super high tech or anything. It's just that they did do shit that we're like, how the fuck did they do? Like, there's no way
Yes.
normal people can like build these things.
Pyramids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like the pyramids. Shit, I can go down a whole ass
Hold
wormhole.
up.
things like that.
Okay.
Fixed
Okay.
the pyramid problem a long time
we did
ago.
No, we did not.
We
Here's
did not.
you two.
Okay, holy
Okay,
shit.
okay.
Here's my theory, and I want you guys to hear your theories.
Okay,
because this is
great.
interesting.
We'll start with your theory.
Yeah,
first.
okay, so this is what I've been told from architects and people who
Okay.
do like design shit, right?
Yeah.
They said like the biggest problem with the pyramids is how the hell did they get these perfectly square things,
Yes.
these massively big things in this weird kind of construction, right? From what they've told me, secondhand information, right, was that it was liquid cement. It wasn't a giant piece that they dragged around. It was sectioned off, and then they used wet cement to make the blocks in a cage that held it. That's what they've been told to me, and to me, I thought, okay, that kind of makes sense.
That makes sense.
But then and it makes sense in that scale too, because when you have a bunch of slaves, like you can do anything with slaves.
That's true.
Like
Power of labor.
the best of human achievement have been created because we've had slaves, because we took people against their will and we had an objective and we said you're gonna do that, and if you don't, you're just gonna die.
Isn't the argument to that is like they found a quarry X
I
amount
was
of
just
distance
gonna say
away
that.
that had the cuts of those blocks?
I
It's
have no idea.
insanely far.
Yeah.
This query, where this query
But
is.
at the same time, there could be a river at the time. But
Yeah.
still, that's still
But
kind of
Even in a river would be insane
It's
because
still
you
hard.
still need to lift it up
Exactly.
and all that stuff.
It's like
Yeah.
I kind of agree with in David's part in that if they had these sites close to the actual site where they built it, then that makes sense.
But it's miles away.
Exactly.
insanely
Logistically,
far.
carrying a block that big, I feel like it's even hard in our time with modern technology.
It was like 80,000 tons or something.
Yeah.
I was literally reading about something about this today.
yeah.
Which leads me to
obviously,
believe then that, like-
obviously you have your theory. I want to hear other people.
Yeah, okay. So I want to hear other people's theories on this
Okay.
one.
Okay, I just want to talk about these queries for a bit.
Okay.
Because there was another thing I read today. I can't remember off the top of my head where this was, but somewhere else in the States, there's this place where they can see the side of the mountain is cut in like perfectly square shapes. Like it's cut out of the side of the mountain and it's just kind of left there as if someone was cutting out these blocks from the side of the mountain and just kind of left it there
Yeah.
on the side because they're like done their project or they just got fucking lazy or some shit. They got,
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
wiped out or some shit.
Yeah.
And so like with this query that I was just talking about, I don't remember where it was, and the query that they think is linked to the one that's linked to the pyramids, I don't think it's possible for them to bring it
Yeah.
through even if there was a river
Mm-hmm.
or anything else. I've heard some things about some people talking about how they figured out some sort of vibrational technology
Mm-hmm.
that cancels out the weight of these huge ass blocks.
Mhm.
But aside from that, I actually don't know how they would have managed that, because I did hear about this query thing, and they matched it up with the exact materials that are used by the pyramids, the exact measurements and everything. But I would like to believe that they did have some sort of technology that we're not tapped into right now, because we went a certain direction. There's so many directions that you can go in society to, I guess, monopolize on. We went one direction and they went another direction. We just haven't explored enough money into exploring the direction that they went in.
And I want to add something as well. Obviously, this is obviously unproven or anything like that. But here's a hypothesis.
I didn't think about technology.
The things like desert. Oh, sorry, not deserts. Things like deserts,
like nuclear reactors
and mountains is
complete split is because of monetary purposes.
Things like deserts is the waste where they take out all the rocks out of, and you get deserts, and they put it into places where obviously whatever they build, right? So the creation of deserts could be the destruction of natural landscape.
Holy shit!
And then like they took all the trees, they took all the landscapes to make the structures that we see today, or the terraforming of the world today that as we see it. So like, you know, when you dig a quarry out, you get just sand and like clay, and yeah, exactly, all that and gravel and the other bullshit. There's nothing left there. That's what deserts could have. That's what deserts might have been like now, but before it could have been like obviously like the way, you know, North America is right now.
Mountain forest.
Exactly, mountain forest with all these natural resources and bullshit. So that might be what deserts are, and you know, and to me that kind of makes sense.
Sick.
Yeah, exactly. Because you got to remember where the deserts are. They're near around that Middle East, Mesopotamian area, where Egypt and where the Arab civilizations were, where all these, where, you know, how Arabs are like the cradle of civilization. Yeah. It's kind of like around that area. So to me, that sort of matches up, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I only got two thoughts on this. I could be wrong on it, right? First off, the theory of like taking a mountain and all its natural resources and turning it to whatever we perceive as a desert is, that would take like a Herculean effort from everyone who was involved in this. I don't know if you have enough slaves in that time to literally reduce a mountain down.
Think outside the box.
Okay, that's true. Okay, so I could be wrong on that one.
I think it is easier to take a mountain down and whittle it down than to build what they build.
That's kind of true.
Dragging it from so far away.
That's a good point too. So the second thing for me was the landscape itself, like the Arab world and the countryside, right? It wouldn't have survived if it was desert. If that was a cradle civilization, it had to be lush and full of vegetation.
No, yeah, it wasn't. Because
it was
the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent.
So I understand that. So I'm puzzled as to why someone or some society would think that it would be a smart idea to literally render all that soil, all that mountain to the point of just desert sand where nothing can grow.
And my response to that is, we do that right now. It's called oil sands. It's called just extracting things from the ground, like oil to whatever. It's not like we think like 100 years in the future, right? Yeah. Like when we frack, it's not like, let's just turn this back to where it was before. You just kind of like leave it there because it just costs. You know, why would you? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. But you don't think someone would like kind of put a stop to?
Who's someone? Someone like your 200,000 BC peasant.
I want to add to that though. So for the oil sands, we do that because we find that it's more beneficial than not to tap into this area and absolutely destroy it. If we're calling like creating a desert, destroying an area.
Yeah.
So some other theory that they have for the pyramids is that they were actually acting as large natural batteries.
Ooh, for aliens! I know, bro. I'm tense up the head.
Not even for aliens, but just as a universal resource of electricity.
Okay.
What if they created this area around the pyramids to create that battery for everyone else in its vicinity to use? That would be the equivalent of us destroying an area.
Alvin,
to create gas.
Google up
or an oil
pyramids
field
underwater.
There's pyramids everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So deep into this shit.
Pyramids and ziggurats
Wait, I want to talk a little bit more about this battery concept. Wait,
hold up. So the thing about the land thing, I think you guys are kind of off on that. Okay, my theory has always been, and what other people agree with is, the climate does change with or without human intervention.
Really fucking lush.
So it was a tropical forest that became a desert, which is what I've always kind of argued. Where it's like these people are like, "Oh no, this land's been like this for the last 100 years." I was like, "That's fuck all compared to what Earth is, right?" So the land did change, and that's what eventually wiped them out. And so the whole I don't think it was just them taking up resources that turned from tropical forest to the desert. I think the Earth literally just changed, right? Within time period, right?
Yeah.
That's why you get forest somewhere and tropical tropical forest somewhere and deserts in other places. My theory for the pyramid, I always lean to the aliens one because
bro, me too. Okay. I want to hear your theory. Okay,
the Somalians,
keep going, bro.
The Sumerians.
Oh my god!
And the people that created the fucking Sumerians, all that. Yeah, it's connected to the pyramids for fucking sure.
We're off the rails.
Yeah.
I want to hear these. Okay.
I mean, I think they have some crazy technology.
Purses are not purses.
Yeah, there's a reason why the ziggurats are to me they're pyramids. Pyramids and ziggurats, they're like pointed like this way, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it had something to do with the fact that aliens or whoever or whatever somehow find it significant in some way for them to recognize these landmarks, and that's probably how they navigated our world. Maybe who knows, right? But it's probably connected to some sort of what do you want to call it?
Intercontinental travel.
Stargates.
Interstellar travel.
Okay. What would you call something that could be either supernatural or scientific, but just not to our understanding? But whatever that is,
I call it an enigma.
Whatever we call supernatural or scientific natural, whatever. But it has there's
phenomenon.
There is some sort of phenomenon. There's some sort of phenomenon with these ziggurats and pyramids, and the fact that they're located everywhere, including the Antarctic and including underwater. There's just too much similarities between continents that shouldn't have anything to do with each other at all.
I fully fucking agree on every single thing that you said.
Yup.
Have you looked into how people have looked at the aerial view of how the pyramids of Giza are laid out and a few other places all around Earth?
I have not. I feel like something we can Google.
Fucking same
what do we Google?
As a motherboard.
Oh, what?
And it's insane. If you look at the aerial view of the Pyramid of Giza and the other two pyramids beside it, it's the exact same as the main chip in a motherboard.
That, you know what? I'm looking at the picture right now. Alvin, can you second row, second left?
This one?
That's it. That literally does look like it. Oh my god.
Search up the Pyramid of Giza compared to a motherboard. There's so many other temples and ruins that are laid out the exact same way as different parts of a motherboard. It's fucking insane.
You know what? That's
To this level
true.
of coincidence, it's insane.
God.
Bro, I feel like we need someone to fact check this shit.
Oh my god. We could be drunk, but this is making incredible sense.
Yo, bro.
Fucking insane.
Yeah.
I'm not completely buying it.
I'm also high, so
I'm not buying it, but I'm also not discounting it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna discount
There's
it.
a few other temples around the world and ruins that look identical to other parts of a motherboard.
Yeah.
Actually fucking insane.
Yeah.
But,
If you Google search Pyramid of Giza motherboard, that's the exact images that we're looking at.
Fundamentally, if you look at all electronics, they're all mechanical based.
Yeah.
So technically, they could have some type of compute too, but on a mechanical side in a larger scale.
So I want to tap into the conspiracy theory that the Pyramid of Giza and all these other things that we're talking about, it's all some sort of giant fucking electrical grid.
I can believe it.
It's
how it's some type of natural resource energy that they've created a long time ago.
Ooh,
that we're not tapped into, because you know how we went into a whole different direction with technology. They went to a whole other direction.
Yeah, with spiritual and some instead of technology, they use. I don't want to call it magic.
Something fucking else.
Yeah, something else. Something that's not science.
And how a lot of temples and churches have 2 pillars in them.
Yeah.
And if you look at a cathode and what was the other one?
Anode.
And an anode, there's always 2 fucking
Yup.
pillars too, and everything surrounding it has to have like decent amount of space.
Oh my god, you've opened
Everything
up my
that.
mind.
It's fucking insane.
Holy
Yo,
shit.
can you imagine? Yo, maybe
Earth is a fucking battery.
maybe humans are sort of like
Oh my god, is this a Rick and Morty episode
Yeah,
where like the
exactly.
Small world?
car battery
Yeah.
has
yeah,
the
exactly.
universe?
Exactly. Those are the physical structures that are like the motherboard, and we're kind of like the little little electrons.
Yeah, we're the car battery.
It's there for them to soak up our fucking energy.
Yeah, exactly. Because remember, we release heat, right?
Okay, so
Because we metabolize.
this is my only question, or my only, I guess the only black spot in this whole theory thing.
Yep.
It's that okay. So when aliens travel,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm gonna relate this to how humans kind of did things when they started conquesting around the world, right? The number one reason when someone does intergalactic travel often is for scouting for resources,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to grab resources from something else. So if we had aliens that came in here during, ancient times, what stopped them from just conquering everything and taking our resources? If that is the main purpose of, and again, the assumption is the main purpose of travel and conquest is for the collection of resources. So what would stop aliens?
Do you guys have a theory for that?
Who
I
has
have
so
one.
many things.
Okay.
says-
I want to hear all that. That's
Who
the
says
question.
we're not aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then that's a moot point then, because then everyone is aliens, and then no, one is aliens.
but like the thing that could be is that
We're the ones that
Like-
came and took all the resources.
no, or we're the ones who they know that will create this evolutional process to create this resource that they can extract.
You
later
guys are
on.
thinking so well, because I have a lot of theories.
yeah.
Because back to your point, I do think that humans are very unique compared to other animals, even smart animals like.
Like apes or dolphins.
Have you looked into fucking octopi
Ooh,
or
yeah, they're
octopus?
Super smart.
No.
There's
They're
a couple
insane.
ways.
Okay, in that they're smart. Yes.
Their genetic makeup is the only thing on Earth that's different from anything else.
Oh, really? Okay.
We have a heliplex, and they have 3 strands, and they're the only thing on Earth, I think, that have 3.
Okay.
3 heel strands.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
I can believe
Insane.
that.
How the fuck does wait, what?
Yeah.
Exactly, it doesn't make sense. But let's go back to your alien theory.
Yeah,
Because
fuck
I-
aliens.
because-
Fuck
okay.
alien- Fuck relationships. Let's go to aliens.
Here's what I think humans are. I think aliens came to Earth, in the same way that we bred dogs from wolves, they bred humans from apes.
Whoa.
Yeah, because like
So the Sumerians fucked apes.
no, they
I've
don't
heard
fuck
of
apes. They did genetic testing with their high alien technology. Like it's not hard to make humans in the way it wasn't hard to make dogs, right?
Yeah, they make you, but you just fuck a female and then you just pregnant.
No, but like
Pretty easy.
it's like we create things already that we would call intelligent life. For example, dog and AI, right? If humans were wiped off from the face of the earth, but AI survived, they would probably worship us like gods.
The
Oh my
AI.
god, if you want to fucking tap into AI, I got so many opinions.
Bro, man, AI is like.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll talk to AI after. Let's go through the pyramids. Oh my god, these pyramids.
Well, pyramids sort of taps into
It'll
this
segue there,
conversation.
but are we done with the pyramids?
I also just want to say, for the aliens topic, what about all the 9, 10 Fermi paradox theories
Sorry, what are
with
these?
aliens?
What are these theories?
About why we haven't found any other aliens?
The
Oh,
great filter
I got a theory for that
stuff.
too.
You know,
I had
But
many
then
theories.
also, like, one of the theories is that we're in a fucking forest. I don't remember what the exact theory was called,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
we're in a fucking forest.
the dark forest theory.
There's a larger predator at hand,
Mhm.
and everyone's just trying to stay quiet,
Yeah.
and we're the only ones trying to reach out.
Exactly. we're
And
the
everyone's
dumb
like, "You're gonna
ones.
fucking die."
Exactly.
Okay.
But there's also the one where everyone else knows we exist, and they're just watching us because they're like, "Oh, you guys are a little bit too dumb for us to
Yeah,
interact
yeah,
with."
yeah.
Oh my god, this is very South Park and Warhammer 40k-ish. Well, okay, so this is my theory, and it kind of touches on all that too, right? There is a theory, and I actually believe this one to be a lot more realistic. The reason why we haven't touched on, or we haven't had aliens reach us yet, is because there's this theory where there's a point in society where we advance so much, and then eventually we war with each other, and then we just annihilate each other through nuclear firepower, whatever the hell it is, and therefore we just haven't gotten past that hump yet for intergalactic travel.
Exactly. And that's what happens with every other alien civilization supposedly that exists.
Supposedly,
it's the
right?
Great filter theory.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know the name of it.
It's a great
So
filter.
there is something like that, and to me that sounds very convincing, because if we in our primitive states
especially
right
in
now,
modern world nowadays.
yeah, and I would say that we are very primitive in the grand scheme of everything, right? So if we can't even get to the point where we can agree with one another, and then we're
There ain't no fucking way I'm agreeing with no alien on anything.
and then we're actively seeking division, because we as humans, we actively seek division
true.
because we like tribalism, right?
But
we like being number one and all that stuff. So it inherently that causes conflict.
That assumes other aliens are also this primal desire.
Well, let's look at the root of it all, right? Like, why do we war with other nations? It's for resources. It's for survival. So something as essential as survival, I think, would be universal.
Because I feel
anything that would give you the best chance of survival, you would naturally lean towards that.
Yeah.
Even as a species, not something even conscious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I would think that even aliens, even if they don't even have the same consciousness as we do, the same level of metacognition, they would still do that, because we have examples in our own life right now, our own creatures, our own animals, our own like fungus, whatever, that does exactly that. They do everything in their own self-interest for the purpose of survival.
And I honestly, I believe that, because sometimes there's things that just happen to coalesce because it's the natural consequence of the decision making. There's like, for example, like in game theory and economics, there's something called Nash equilibrium, right? Where if everyone takes the most logical choices, it always ends up to one or at least a couple of different options, but it always coalesces to at least one option. So if you kind of take the aggregate of all of human knowledge, and if you kind of like the natural logical consequence is towards kind of that thinking, then every other logical civilization that could obviously, and it has to be a logical civilization, because an illogical civilization won't even advance that far, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't get that far in travel.
So and a logical civilization would naturally have to happen to that inevitability, which is obviously destruction, because when you create things that can create, you also it's easier to destroy than create, right? Yeah, it's easier to destroy than create. So if you can create something, you can easily destroy it in faster, exactly. Because just how you can create a skyscraper in like 12 months to a couple of years, you can destroy it in like a week,
an
right?
afternoon.
Exactly. So it's easier to create than destroy, which is like second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah.
Thermodynamics, right?
Based off our understanding, I do think that there is some validity to that.
Yeah, the great filter theory.
Now, the other thing too is, if we are rational individuals, and you can take this based off of statistics, right? 1 in a trillion, 1 in quadrillion, quintillion, whatever it is, the universe is big enough to account for that exception, right? Even if you have someone who can kind of navigate through the inner conflicts that one has enough to just unify and go and travel, I don't think that they would have enough resources and knowledge as well, because it would. I make this assumption based off of the landmass and the people. The more people you have, the bigger the landmasses, the more chances you have for conflict. So the only way that it would kind of be unified is if it's a very small kind of nation, and therefore your resources wouldn't allow you to get to that point of space travel, or it would take you just a lot longer than what Earth currently has.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I do think that great filter theory has some legs to it.
Yup.
Yeah.
I also like the dark forest theory as well.
Now, I don't know about this dark forest theory, so I want to hear a little bit about that.
Let's talk about the forest. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
First off, I want to say I agree that there is some validity. I think there's a little bit of validity in a lot of these fucking Fermi paradox theories. I want to say that I am definitely more of a dreamer and a positive person. So I want to say that at some point there has been a society that has been able to work it out and become so technologically advanced that they're able to do something right, explore and be a multi-planetary species, and become much more advanced than we're able to even comprehend. Like, even if you went 15 years ago and you asked yourself what technologies you thought would be available today, to what degree, you would not be able to comprehend what we have today. So even in 20, 30 years from now, I would imagine that you wouldn't be able to comprehend what we have in 20, 30 years from now. Imagine if there was a society that was even 1,000 years ahead of us. Like, I believe technological advancement is exponential. Even to that degree, there could be a civilization, or even many, if you want to tap into like all the galaxies and dimensions and all that shit that can also exist at the same time. I think that there is a possibility that there's other civilizations that were able to become so much more technologically advanced than we can even imagine, and just do stuff with their technology that we can't perceive, we can't understand now. Like, some people are becoming a little like half bionic people because, you know, you rely so much on fucking Neuralink and all that shit.
Oh my god, are you a fan of Warhammer 40k?
Yeah.
I knew it.
But
Okay, but I do think that, oddly enough, I think Warhammer 40k, like the way it progressed and the lore and the history and stuff, I do think that humanity is going to that direction. I do think that, like, for a fact, logically speaking, if we take whatever advancements we have to its logical conclusion, we'll end up where Warhammer 40k is. Where eventually AI will take over and we will be completely fucked. I'm surprised you level 40 Warhammer 40k. Jesus. That's like deep lore geek shit.
Fucking love this shit.
That's deep
No, but-
lore geek shit.
so I think there's two things. I think it's always still, we're assuming aliens, quote unquote aliens, will. So I understand the argument how like resources and scarcity of that and the logic to it, but I still think we're thinking of it with a human mind.
I think so
and,
too.
and that's such a limitation because like theoretically, if they have a hive mind, technically this resource scarcity would be not beneficial if you were to war against each other. If you had a
Exactly.
hive mind,
Say that to the
thing.
Tyranids.
But the other thing too is it could be a time frame issue. So for example, if we see a planet out there that we think could be civilized, right now we're seeing it 100,000 years ago, just because of the
Exactly.
travel of light.
The light.
Yeah, but by the time we get there, it could have been a whole civilization could be built and destroyed in that same time
exactly.
frame too, right?
Okay, yep,
So like the span of how long Earth was and is also in the Goldilocks zone is a really big number, and we've only been alive for a very, very small
That's
number.
true.
So like the chances of seeing that could be so slim. Like one day we may actually see a planet out there that we're like, oh, there's a civilization, and again, they're like 100,000 years away, and we do send a probe out there. By the time the probe gets there, the probe could just see, oh, this civilization is gone now.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
and
for
only
sure.
that, the time could be completely different from when it was actually habitable.
Yeah,
It's like,
like
if they were looking at us too, they could
Yeah.
be like, oh, they're still in their dinosaur age.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we're like, where the fuck are they?
Yeah, so like the locality of time and the difference between, you know, stuff being so far apart, I think makes a huge thing of why it's so hard to actually see
Yeah,
aliens.
exactly. That's true.
But I wouldn't discount it
How
being
everything
possible.
is slowly like expanding too, so it makes it even more difficult.
You guys forget that the warp, there is no such thing as time.
You're right.
You can just cross that shit.
Fuck with that.
The Astronomicon, as long as our dear Lord, the God Emperor, stays alive, we're good.
There is also a speed greater than light, and it's when there's quantum entanglement, and we haven't been able to figure that out yet.
Quantum
So I
entanglement,
feel
Google
like
that
if
up.
somebody was able
I don't
to
know
figure
what that
out,
means.
It's pretty much two particles can, whatever you see on one particle is exactly what you see in the other, regardless of distance.
So it's warp travel.
Kinda, but
Warp travel.
it's almost like you need a quantumly entangled body over there.
Yeah, it's the it's the Emperor on the Golden Throne.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean-
he's the guy.
It's
allows us to do
plausible,
warp travel.
but
time would not be a variant.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
variable
yeah.
at that point.
actually,
Yeah,
no,
man.
no, it's distance won't be a
Yeah.
variable.
Okay.
Distance or time, man.
No,
Zeech
time,
doesn't
time,
care.
time would still be a variable because at Earth 1 second would be, you know, a
Oh, yeah,
same
yeah,
time
you're right.
there, right?
Earth 1
Yeah.
Zeech doesn't care about your timing.
Which is actually how I think they're gonna end up
Right, space
communicating between, like if we ever become interplanetary.
Yeah.
Like to send a message to and from Mars will take several
Can you
minutes.
believe we're not even at level 1 planet yet?
I know.
I know.
Yo, yeah, you know what that
takes a long
scale?
time.
But here's the thing,
Yeah.
though.
Because we need funding, and no one fucking
We
cares.
have
about
the
this shit.
technology and the resources to do
I
it.
feel like we have the
we
technology to at least
just
do
don't
it.
have the direction and the unity.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Honestly, I
Actually-
know some people say billionaires shouldn't exist, but I think that the billionaires that are doing it right in this sense, in this specific topic,
Yep.
is Elon Musk
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
and Jeff Bezos, because
I
they're
don't know about-
actually trying to do something. Okay, yeah, Jeff a lot less, but like with
Yeah.
fucking Blue, whatever.
I know
his
that
name is,
Virgin Mobile guy is huge into that.
they're at least
Richard
trying to do
Branson?
something
But
for humanity.
he's not a name that
insane.
I know, so it can't be significant enough.
Yeah, okay. So
And I kind of agree with you that Elon Mustard is kind of like I like to call him that. In that his thinking is just beyond our
comprehension.
our moment, if that makes sense.
I would argue against that. I would say
Yeah.
everyone has these ideas, but
Yeah.
he's actually able to
Exactly. Yeah.
Like we
yeah.
think these ideas and they're like fleeting ideas that we're like, yeah, someone else will do it, or maybe one day,
Exactly.
in like 100
And
years,
to-
but he's able to do it.
I know people hate billionaires for whatever reason, but straight up, billionaires are the people with the economy, the scale, and the vision to do that stuff. Because a middle class person is not going to think about this stuff because they're too busy thinking about their normal day life, right?
Yep, stresses the mental bandwidth.
But a billionaire, they have the free time to have a vision. We do not have the free time to have a vision because we're brokies. but they do because they have the resources, and not only that, they have the what's the word I'm looking for?
They got the balls to do it.
they have the resources and the knowledge, at least compared to us, to sort of push the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have the theories to
They're
push
able
the
to take that risk.
exactly. They're able to take that risk and test those theories.
Yeah.
Like obviously we're talking a lot of stuff right now, but realistically, there's no real way for us to sort of manifest that into a real world application, right? But these people do.
And I want to talk a little bit more about Elon Musk and like a lot of the theories and the things he wants to do. A lot of people kind of like, I don't know, over the years kind of turned on him. If you guys haven't noticed,
AI
especially with
honestly does scare me though.
everything. Well, I mean, it's necessary though. If you want space travel, you need AI
That's
because
kinda true.
it just does computations that are just way more advanced than us. Right?
And honestly, also AI is what's the word? It's not limited by our biology.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the thing about Elon Musk is, and even AI too, right? And just people in general, it's people fear topics that they don't understand, right? And when it comes to someone like Elon Musk, his ideas are so big, so grandiose that, I'd like to put it crassly, like small-minded people will never be able to understand this.
Exactly.
But it's not for them to understand.
Yeah.
And this sounds very elitist too, because they're like in society, I know everyone has to be viewed as, we want to view each other as equals and everyone matters and everyone's opinion is valid, blah, blah, blah. But in society, when it comes to advancements, there are leaders in this world where, for people like who just don't understand that vision, it's not for them to question. It's for them to just sit down and just kind of do shit and let
Exactly.
them do their things, right?
They
It
are
just-
the slaves. We are the masters.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't even say we. I'm just saying, like, these billionaires, like, there are levels to
I
this.
feel like we're pretty high functioning. I mean, like
I
we're
mean,
having,
yes,
I
we-
feel like if we're having this conversation, I feel like
Yeah, okay.
I feel like if we're having this conversation right now, we are already above because we know how to think outside the box and we are creative enough to think of our own theories or at least challenge the current orthodoxy of
just the status quo.
of the status quo.
I think we're just the ones recording it. That's it. I think a lot of people have these conversations.
Yo, bro, if you're recording it and no one else is recording, we're already above.
Do you guys believe in NPCs then?
Yes.
Oh my god,
yes,
yes. Holy shit, yes. I have so many NPCs I meet every single day.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
talking to them is like talking to like a comment section in like a YouTube video or something. Like, I know what they're gonna say. They're so predictable. It's like, think for yourself.
Now, my next argument would be, do you think everyone feels like they know NPCs? And obviously, there's going to be some overlap.
I think
One
so,
person's
too.
going to say person A is an NPC. Person A is going to be like, obviously, you guys are NPCs.
I think so too.
Okay.
There's this little comic that I always see. Like everyone's on the bus together, right? And everyone has the same thought. I'm unique.
Okay.
I'm the only one that
Using your analogy, right? And I'll use my own anecdotes and stuff too. On a bus, there's always the back of the bus.
Yeah.
And they're always different than everyone else.
I'm the guy in the back of the
There
bus.
you go. Right? They're always different. And I will say this. No, not a lot of people do not think that other people are NPCs as well, because they just don't have the metacognition to think that far. And I know this because when I deal with people in my own career, I deal with people at a time of crisis. I deal usually with the people at the bottom of society as well, the people on the margins and all that stuff too, right? and also the high levels. I deal with the extremes of society. Let's say that I deal with a lot with the extremes of society. And when you're there, they don't know. They don't think everyone's NPCs. They don't think this and that. It's just they have their own thought process. They're in their own little world. Everything's personal to them. Like, just whatever. So I don't believe that a lot of people in society, or at least the majority of society, believes that other people are NPCs, or they think that everyone else is NPC and I'm not. Some people just don't have that awareness.
I agree, but I would like to also argue that what if it's because of all your experiences that led you down to who you are today, gave you this specific perspective.
Yeah.
And so that's why you think they're NPCs to every single theory, every single value that you hold true to yourself. You're like, you're obviously an NPC. You obviously can't comprehend the level of depth that I know. What if else had a whole different set of experiences, so they were led a whole different way, so they have a completely different mindset from you, and they're like, okay, compared to everything that I've experienced, and I know you're fucking an NPC.
Yeah. And I do think about that. Sometimes I want to challenge myself. Like, if I was myself but then thought the opposite of myself, what would opposite me think of?
Yeah, what would communist Johnson
exactly
think?
What would commie Johnson think of, right? So to me, sometimes like I'm in my head, I'm in my own head thinking like, how do I fight my dark self? You know what I mean, right? So like in video games, do you know how you fight your mirror self, your evil side? That's like how would I fight my evil side in like intellectually,
Who's
right?
the dark link?
Or like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the evil guy, right? Maybe the guy that's opposite of myself might be the good guy.
That's great. That's self-reflection.
Exactly. That's called self-awareness. It means I'm human.
Being humble.
Yeah.
So this is where this is my challenge to all of that, and this is how I conceptualize it.
Yep.
So when we think of NPCs, most people think of it as an absolute term.
Yeah.
I think of it only as relative.
Yeah, exactly. It's a relative term.
So when I say NPC, the way I look at it is, are you just toting the same thing that society and other people agendas are toting as well? Because that's just the thing to do and say. And are you mirroring everything that society is telling?
Not just society, but also you can also include fringe groups as well.
Or fringe groups too. Just whatever collective that you choose to go for.
You choose to identify as.
But it has to be big enough that's in the consciousness of all of society. So it can't be just some tiny fringe thing.
Yeah, it can't be 5 people.
Big.
But maybe like
Black Lives Matter, for instance.
Yeah.
Like it's big enough. It's a minority, but it's still big enough to
be a name.
Yeah. So NPCs to me is, are you just toting the status quo that everyone and the agendas of the collective is telling you to say?
Yep.
So that can change depending on where you go. It can change depending on the social norms that you're at and what country you're at, et cetera, whatever creed you're with. So to me, an NPC is someone who just toes that party line, whatever that party line is in a micro or macro sense. If you're just toting that without really any critical thought to it, to me, you are an NPC because you're taking a lazy, at least an intellectually lazy route to kind of live through life.
Yep.
So that to me is an NPC. All right. So some people view it I view it as very relative.
I mean, if you were the ruler of the world, aren't NPCs the best type of workers?
It is. Because
you're not a disruptor.
Yeah, exactly. So then, I mean, I feel like,
are you a rebellious person or are you a conformist?
I'm a rebellious.
That's really at the core of it is, are you a conformist or are you a deviant?
Yeah.
And when I say deviant, I mean a deviation from social conformity.
So wouldn't let's like, if I could put myself in Elon Musk's mind, I would want NPCs and I would want a way to influence them and to work for me, because I know that with one person I can only get so far my goal.
Yeah.
But if I utilize the minds of all these NPCs and I can kind of instill that, let's say, NPC-ness into them.
Make no mistake though, like, and we're not saying NPCs are useless or have no value or not important or anything like that. It's just when you talk to NPCs, you kind of know their role. Like for instance, like in my industry at least, right? You can kind of divide everyone into 3 categories. You got the drone, you got the rainmaker, and then you got the fixer. The way that if you were, let's put yourself as the fixer. The way you talk to a rainmaker and the expectations you have with them, it's very different than if you talk to another fixer or you talk to a drone. If you're a fixer, you're not having conversations about the day-to-day, for instance, right? You're talking a bit more like what Elon Musk is doing. You're more visionary. You're more, this is how we get there. Now I just need people to help me make that a reality. The conversation's very different than a drone, which is like I need this thing done by this time. I need to fill it out this way, this proper, like just the conversations are different. The social circles are different. The impact on the world is different, right? So yeah, NPCs, totally fine. I just want to make a point that they're not useless. They're very necessary. It's just where I'm at. As someone I don't perceive myself as an NPC, the conversations I have with them is not going to be beneficial to me or my goals. So I don't usually look towards NPC for conversation. I look towards other people who can kind of teach me something to help me get to where I need to get to, whatever my goals are, right? So that's really the only distinction that I have, or discrimination that I have towards NPCs. It's just I don't have a reason to have a conversation with you because I can get the same information from you more efficiently somewhere else, right? You're not a critical thinker. You're not a problem solver. You're not this and that. You're just towing the party line.
Yeah.
Just towing the status quo. I don't need people like that. I want to talk to disruptors.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I'm done.
So during this year, I decided to try to read more books, right? So one of the books that I did try to read is Mein Kampf by Time 38's Man of the Year.
Oh shit.
But anyways.
All the way back. Okay.
But the reason why I've read it, because one of the things in the book kind of touches on NPCs. Obviously, the language is kind of different. But there are three types of people in the world. People that follow all the rules and are, NPCs, what we call NPCs. People that are the complete opposite of NPCs, where they don't do anything, where they don't follow the rules, and they kind of they're almost counter.
Yeah, they're deviants.
Yeah, exactly. They're so deviant, right? In that they're almost they kind of want to be contradictory to the first group, which is NPCs. And obviously the third
culture.
Exactly. And then obviously the third group is people that are really aware and are really smart. But obviously the last group we'll just put it aside because that's like not a lot of people, right? So the first group, the NPCs, can be used. The only reason why I bring this up is because the first group of NPCs are useful in both ways. They can either destroy culture or uplift the culture, because slaves / NPCs are useful in that you can either use them for good or bad, because essentially they're kind of like workers in that sense. So like what you said, Elon Musk, they can if I was Elon Musk and I had a group of NPCs and I wanted to like travel to stars, these people are the people I want. But if I was obviously the opposite, I wanted to destroy the world and I wanted like global domination, then these NPCs are also what I want. People that are too skeptical and they don't believe anything that they see are useless people in that they kind of just exist, but they can't be used for anything
productive.
Not productive, but anything outside of production. Exactly. Like they can't think like for example, if you're like the second group, where they're too skeptical of anything, they will oscillate between both groups in that they can't get anything done because they're too busy skeptical of one or both groups. They can't sort of commit, and they can't sort of devote themselves into any sort of vision.
Yeah.
Whether it be good or bad, right?
Yeah, it's like the people who believe in relativism in everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
those people.
So I kind of agree with you in that NPCs are useful. And honestly, I will even say further. NPCs are better than the skeptics. Because skeptics, again, to me, they're kind of like workhorses or like animals in that they can't think of anything past their own self. They can't have a vision, because good or bad vision, it's still a vision, right? Mm-hmm. But an NPC will have a vision. It's just someone else's vision. But a skeptic, they won't have any vision at all because they're too busy trying to like, I don't like this guy for this whatever reason.
Yeah,
I don't
busy trying to critique.
Exactly. They're too busy being armchair philosophers than being actual men of action, if that makes sense. So that, to me, being NPC is not necessarily a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And I will even go so far as being a skeptic is even worse, because you are like you're living a life that's no better than an animal. Yeah. You don't have higher thoughts. You don't have higher cognition. You're just
poking holes.
You're just poking holes while not offering anything to sort of for people to inspire people.
Yeah.
I would like to argue
Yeah.
that being NPC is valuable to the people that use them and disruptors.
Yeah.
But being a skeptic is valuable if you want to change society or whatever system that you want to change.
Yeah.
And eventually those skeptics are the people that become disruptors, are the people that use NPCs.
You know what? That's kind of valid.
So it depends on what perspective you're looking at.
Because I will say that moving
Who they're
from
valuable to.
Because there's obviously the third group is like the enlightened people that
I'll help you out with this thing. I'll just divide it and say that there is a difference between being like that skeptic you're talking about versus having a dissatisfaction with the status quo. I think you're talking about dissatisfaction. So I think what you're talking about is people who are incapable of having a vision. You're talking about people who do have a vision.
Yes, you're right.
And just aren't happy with the status quo. They make the changes. Like the skeptics, like you said.
I will say that the skeptics, they have the ability
Bring awareness
to become leaders.
Yeah.
It's just that they can't have the ability to become useful until they become leaders.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need Indians for the chief. You do need Indians for the chief. And honestly, people should be what's the word I'm looking for? People shouldn't be ashamed. People shouldn't be ashamed of being an Indian versus chief. Because we have this society where we're supposed to be like the main characters of our own life.
I get the fuck out of here.
But there's still worth in being a main character if you're like a guy, right? Like
I agree.
yeah.
On the topic of main character,
Yeah.
what's your guys' Myers-Briggs type indicator personality?
Fuck.
Wait, hold up. What?
What's your Myers-Briggs
personality?
Yeah.
MBTI.
Ooh, mine changes though.
ISTJ.
Yeah.
I'm logistical.
Mine's what?
INTJ.
something.
Mine
You're probably
changed.
INTJ.
Something like
That's probably the. You know what? Google it up.
Yeah, Google it up.
INTJ.
Let's save this for the next combo here.
Okay.
Because that's a
Okay.
pretty easy one. We can all do the test and then we can
Yeah,
get into
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
conversation pretty
Okay,
easily.
okay.
All I can say to that is that mine has changed over the years.
Yeah, I think everyone's does too.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you guys got because I went to P for the NPC thing, but I think one thing is like I think people shouldn't draw such thick lines between like NPCs.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's because
It has to be relevant.
personally, what I think is that for you to become a good leader, visionary, you have to know how to already done the grunt work once. So you must have been the NPC at one point to someone else's vision in order to create your own vision.
Not necessarily true.
I think you won't be a good enough visionary if you don't understand what the grunt work requires.
That's true. That's
No,
true.
That's not necessarily true.
I know. Honestly, no. I agree with that, and let me tell you why. Because you have to relate to the common man. Because if you do not relate to the common man, you can't command their respect, and not obviously reading my command. He says that too, but also even in the military, the Canadian military, they say the same thing. Officers eat last, grunts eat first, right?
Yeah.
Because the soldiers carry the army, not the officers. And a lot of the critique of enlisted people is that officers, obviously, since if you don't understand, to be an officer, you need a undergraduate degree, 4 years in school. So you're not necessarily out in the field; you are in school, and there's a big disconnect between officers and enlisted people because officers, they have an education, but they come from a different place, while enlisted people, they also come from a different place.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of what's the word? The similarities between officers and the enlisted kind of people.
Yeah.
And obviously in society, a big disconnect between the common man and the elites or whatever.
So my only retort to that is you don't need to relate to the common man to be a good leader or a productive leader.
Okay.
And we've seen this in history multiple times, actually. We've seen it look at the U.S. presidents, for instance.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton, John F. Kennedy. You can say they came from nepotism, if anything. Right?
Yeah.
Not meritocracy.
There is no way I can believe in the back of my mind that a guy named with the last name Bush or Clinton happens to randomly also have a relative that's going to be running for president that has the same last name. It's
it's nepotism.
It's not random.
Yeah, it's
But-
they have a patriarchy. So the point I was trying to say is that you don't necessarily need to have someone relate to the person who is average or even on the margins to lead properly.
But you won't be as well of a leader than someone who can.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so that's true. That's true. I do think that if you're in a meritocracy, you'll have a leader, and if he truly believes in that philosophy, you will have a better society.
I agree.
But so far, we don't have any kind of existing meritocracy that is successful. In fact, I don't think we have any meritocracy theoretically, right? There's a lot of nepotism, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into this leadership stuff. It's not really based off of your merit. Let's be real.
Like there is nepotism, but I wouldn't say. Pretty much, I wouldn't say it's completely flawed.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes shit floats to the top. Like you can't be a shitty person and just get by on nepotism alone. You need some validation.
Of course not.
Right?
There's always going to be some kind of level of competency, but we'll never reach that equilibrium of pure like.
No, we won't.
Never.
Remember, we're humans first, not machines. Not machines.
And I'd say like our political climate right now is not full of people like the senates, the cabinets, all that kind of stuff, right? They're not full of people who are, I would say, competent in their position, right? So you don't necessarily have to have that, but still, even when we didn't have that, we still had the most prosperous countries in the world pop up because of that. So I don't believe that you can be successful, whatever your version of success is. We don't necessarily need to have a leader who kind of relates to the people to have success. So I'm not saying that it cannot be better. I'm just saying there's no evidence that shows that that's a requirement.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it's a requirement, but I just think the most successful people, like, so if you
I would also argue, let me just fill in this point. The reason why I say this is because, have you guys ever heard of the term tyranny of the masses?
Yep, I have.
That's the reason why I do believe that there's sometimes there are people who just know better than the masses.
I do think so too.
That
Plato was the Republic.
Yeah, so they are more fit to lead because they can stop people from destroying each other.
Yeah, no, I think so. But what I guess what I was thinking is the most successful people. So let's bring back Elon Musk as an example. I do believe
Elon Mustard.
He became what he became is because he was an NPC at one point doing the grunt work.
Yeah.
And the only difference now is because he understands the grunt work faster than the NPC, that he can go through all the NPC stuff a lot better to make it
honestly,
more
I agree
efficient.
with that.
I half agreed with you.
Yeah, I half agree with that.
Because I feel like you're either an NPC or you're not to a degree. Like you have to have some sort of mindset to not follow the status quo, to not follow exactly everything that everyone is doing and not question it.
100%.
Or you have the mindset that, I don't know, maybe like this doesn't seem right. Maybe I'll do something about it.
No,
and I would like to imagine that Elon Musk was never an NPC, but he did do the grunt work. He was there on the floor doing the work that everyone else is doing, that he hires underneath him.
So he may have had that mentality, but at that moment he had to act just like all the other NPCs through a certain duration. So for example, for him to understand coding and how it works, he had to go through similar stuff of what you've done as an NPC. And I feel like if he didn't...
But not as an NPC.
Like, yes, he had to have a vision, but during that, say 1 or 2 years of learning that, he had to be in NPC mode.
Okay, so...
You know what I mean? Like, he had to be in that state in order to truly, learn and be the best, and then he can move on to
let me ask you,
can I go next? I'm gonna go next.
Yeah, go for it.
I kind of agree with Viv in that, because in Russia, how they choose their leaders is they kind of look at the grunts, right? Okay, we're talking about military, right? In that they look at the grunts, and in their philosophy is that leaders are only born, but it kind of has to manifest itself in a way by kind of
your deeds.
Yeah, by your deeds. So what they do is they kind of just look at the cohort and they kind of see who's the quote unquote alpha male, right? And that's the leader of that, at least of that cohort. And then they obviously they put them into they kind of filter it, right? So then they put that person into another filter of another cohort that's even more extra than the previous one, and then that's how they filter. They kind of how they kind of structure their military hierarchy, in that the best will do best among leaders, and the leaders will do best among grunts, if that makes sense. So I kind of agree with Viv in that there is an innate talent, but with what you said, honestly, straight up, they do need to know the technicals and they do need to know the grunt work and the NPC work.
Okay. So again, I think the distinction now between, because I agree 100% with what Viv is saying, by the way, and I think the distinction is this: are you an NPC based off of your actions alone, or is it a mentality that you have, and that's something that's inherited?
Mentality.
Right. So me and Viv share the same belief that being a leader or a non-NPC, let's say non-NPC, is something that's not based on just your actions, but your mentality. Because everyone has to work, for instance, and do some shit that they don't want to do to get to where they need to get to, their goals, right? I might be doing some NPC type shit, but my mentality is not NPC. It's, I got to do this as a stepping stone to finally get to where I need to get to finally do what I need to do.
Fucking agree.
So they kind of have the vision first, and then they kind of work their way up.
So that's why I say it's an innate thing. It's not just because your actions. Like, for instance, right now, I could say in my personal life right now that if I was just to base everything based off my actions, I'd be NPC as hell. Got a job at 14, been working all the way up till 32 with a job, right? But my mentality has never been, I need to stay at a job for the rest of my life. Right? I've started businesses already. I've won competitions for startups, right? I'm planning things to start my own thing. Like, I have all these plans outside of just staying in the office 9 to 5, doing whatever I need to do because that's what work is telling me. I don't need to necessarily follow the rules. I always challenge the rules in that because I don't believe arbitrariness for the sake of arbitrariness is worth anything, right? So, like, for instance, jaywalking. Right, you're gonna take someone for jaywalking.
Oh my god, what a badass!
Okay, jaywalking is kind of like our society's rules of coming outside the lines.
Yeah, so like, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, there's arbitrary rules for the sake of arbitrariness. Like, I don't follow that. I don't believe in that. I don't care for that. That's not something I would want to follow. Right? It's very similar to what Martin Luther King said in his letter to Birmingham jail, right?
I'm good.
It's like, if you follow unjust laws, like if the law is unjust, is disobeying it like a violation of like order and civility and stuff, right? Like, I don't believe that. So I challenge the status quo all the time. But even though I do NPC stuff, my mentality is far from trying to maintain whatever is now. Like, I'm cursed with this gift to see the world in a better light. Right, so I see how life could be, so I can't accept how life is now.
So would you take the Neuralink chip?
100%.
Would you take the Neuralink chip?
I would take it depending on multiple factors. So for one, if it's
let's hear what the factors are.
Okay, so first off,
it's a multi-dimensional question.
It's super multiple. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep it simple. I assume if it's super like reliable and not going to fuck me up in the future. Okay, that's one consideration. The second one is, what is the environment around me doing?
Okay, and that environment, what would make you do it?
So if everyone doesn't know, so I'm a lawyer, right? So every lawyer around me starts taking Neuralink. Then for me, it would be a disadvantage not to take Neuralink. So I would have to, in this context, take it just to stay competitive with all of my peers and to keep up to date with everything to serve my clients better, right?
That's valid.
So if that's another consideration. The third thing too is, who controls the Neuralink? Is there a third party that I have to kind of follow through with to maintain this lifestyle I have with this Neuralink? Or if disagreeing with this company or not following through with whatever policy they have, is that going to shut down everything that Neuralink is going to provide me? That to me is going to be very important too, because I need autonomy. I'm not going to put something in my own body if I don't have full control of it. Right? It's almost like the abortion argument, right? Like, fuck the government trying to tell me what to do with my body. It's the same thing with Neuralink. Like, if I don't trust the government, you think I'm going to trust a private company with that shit? Are you serious? No, I'm definitely not going to do that. Yeah. So autonomy, reliability, and what my environment's doing. And then the other thing too is just benefit.
Hey.
What kind of benefits will I have with the Neuralink? And if it's significant, like actually life-changing, then I'll go through the operation because I don't have any problem with. When you think of Neuralink, what are you really doing? You're processing information at a much faster capacity, right?
Okay.
If you look at your phone, are you not doing the same shit? The frequency between you processing the information is just slower.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Rather than having a chip in your mind. It's the same shit. We're glued to our technology, whether we like it or not. All right? I accept that fact. So, Neuralink to my head, if it's just a competitive advantage, I'm just going to do it. Doesn't matter to me now because, fuck, I can't live without my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Viv. Neuralink.
I would fucking do it.
Hey.
But based off of the same reasons that you would. At first, I was just gonna say that it's safe, that they've tested it multiple times, that I see the benefits of it and the detrimental sides of it are far outweighed. The good sides of it outweigh the detrimental parts of it by a fuck ton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I was listening to David speak and all the other points that you needed in order to be convinced to get Neuralink, I was like, fuck yeah, that's true. I would also adopt that. I would also hold that as a criteria before I got Neuralink injected into me. But from obviously they don't tell you the bad sides of what has gone wrong when they experimented with Neuralink.
Yeah.
But from everything good that I've heard and that I've heard and where I think that it could go, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Given it matches those qualities.
Exactly.
I think I'd be a pretty late adopter. Probably pretty late adopter, I think. I mean, currently right now it's pretty useless for us.
Okay. Well,
it's
all
pretty
else
much
equal though.
No. Let's think about it. Okay, I know obviously right now it's bad, but like
it's not bad. It's just useless.
okay, not useful, but like what's your vision of Neuralink?
That's what I'm saying. All else equal, it's a safe operation. It has the benefit that you have. The only issue you have is one of morality and ethics. That's really the main point.
Oh,
I mean, it's really
Chris for everything.
actually I'm not sure because like it won't provide much function right now.
Yeah. No, we're not.
No, assuming it does.
Okay, you're saying right now, but like we're talking about more so like in a future sense. Like,
We're talking instant processing of information, instant access to
what's
information.
When I think of
Instant
Neuralink,
access.
I think of have you played the Deus Ex games or like Cyberpunk?
That would be a good one.
Similar,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not just Neuralink. It's more so a question on artificial enhancements and transhumanism and like just sort of like just sort of like assisting your life through technology.
No, I understand that, but I also feel like I feel like a lot of people don't actually understand what it currently does, so then they don't know. Like they're imagining all these things, but there's such big biological and technological leaps that has to go through before it can provide those type of experiences.
Yeah.
And then the question is, will that happen in my lifetime? Is the question. Because I think people don't really understand that. What currently Neuralink can do, and probably in the next 5 years only, is that you can manipulate a machine a little bit faster. But it doesn't make you learn faster.
No, it doesn't.
Like you can have 1,000 pages of information go through your Neuralink, but you can't interpret it any faster.
You can't comprehend it. This is the way you can read a book. In fast, you don't comprehend information in that book.
So currently with its current technology, it's actually not useful until there's some major leaps and bounds in
Holy
it.
shit, have you heard about this company called, I think they're called REM Space? That they were able to...
It's the thing you showed me.
Yeah, I showed you.
I don't think it's useful.
Have two people. I don't think it's fully useful to what it's at right now, but I think the idea of it is fucking sick and that they've been able to take this first step. So the test that they were able to successfully run recently was that they had one person fall asleep. They had a whole bunch of things connected to that person's head, and the person was able to in their sleep start dreaming, access the server, pull a word from that server, and kind of like tell the person that they're thinking of that word.
Oh damn.
They had the person that they're thinking of, aka person B in this experiment, fall asleep, go to sleep on another side of the planet. 8 minutes later, they were tapped into the server. They had like it plugged into their head or like taped to their head externally. They were able to fall asleep, tap into the server that had no word or anything, and hear that word, wake up, and repeat that word.
Oh damn.
It's Inception. Oh my
Yeah, I was thinking
Okay,
Inception. I was thinking Inception.
Okay, guys. Hold up. Viv sent me this thing. It still seems very, very
So they
woo-woo.
weren't able to communicate while they were dreaming both at the same time. Like, hey, we're in the same dream together. What the fuck? Okay, we're gonna wake up right now and say the same thing type of thing. It wasn't exactly like that. They both accessed the same server, and through that server, which is a physical thing outside of when we're sleeping,
Oh my god.
able to
So you're saying that
communicate a
their
specific
consciousness just from sleeping can communicate to a physical server just
Yes.
from brainwaves.
I mean, that seems.
yes.
So from the article I read, it
Oh
still
my
seems
God.
very woo woo because
This-
there's no details they put into like what they actually did.
This is Cyberpunk 2077
Bro.
in a nutshell. This is exactly
I know.
what.
Yo, bro,
That's exactly
bro.
what
you
happened.
guys can call me a skeptic, but I always like to see the details.
I
of
want
it,
to see.
and then
I want to see the peer-reviewed details.
So there is none, and from reading
None that
that,
has been released.
so
Okay.
from reading
I'm
what
a
they
genius.
have quote unquote released, I was like, I don't know. There's not enough details to like say that it's not coincidence.
Go
Yeah.
play Cyberpunk 2077. It'll answer all these questions right now. This is literally the same topic that they've been
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
It's literally the same. That's the whole point of
I'm
everything.
gonna do X, bro.
It's
I'm
taking
gonna
your
like a cyber
consciousness,
breakdown.
going to the computer to a server, and it's just this wild stuff going through
I
the internet.
mean, so
God
that's
damn.
that's the whole biggest problem I have currently with people saying like, oh yeah, I will or will not get Neuralink, is that they don't actually understand it, and you don't like I was speaking before, you don't actually interpret things any faster.
No, you don't. No, no, you
So there is no actual functional
I feel
improvement other than access to technology
Like
faster.
access to technology
Is
is
the
the
first
in your
step.
head is fucking insane.
Yeah,
I feel like Neuralink. I know what you're saying right now.
Actually, hold on. Before that, I just want to clarify something first. Neuralink is useful because it stimulates the brain to allow you, at the moment, for bodily function. So, for a blind person, theoretically,
Yes.
if a person is blind, theoretically, the Neuralink will make them see things.
Okay, to me,
If you're deaf, it'll make you hear things.
If I
So
was
that's at
disabled
the
in some
moment
way,
what it is.
I will. If I was disabled in some way, I would
Yes.
10,000%
Yeah.
take Neuralink. I'm only speaking to myself as an enhancement to who I am now.
So it's what I think is it's currently not that much of an enhancement
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
And what I've said, and I guess until I like see it, is like there need to be some very big bounds and leaps for them to become useful for a normal
100%,
person.
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen in our lifetime because it's
don't
actually
think so. I don't
very,
think so.
very
I-
complex.
Okay.
No, hold up. Think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Look at QR codes, for instance. It's using our phone to interact with something to
And-
lead us
and
somewhere.
honestly, I'll be-
and Neuralink not have a same application.
And not
in
only
the
that,
external world.
the way that
Wow.
AI is progressing right now,
Yeah, it's scary.
it's actually like scary. Like in 1 year, like you know how in AI, like fingers, right?
Yeah.
They can't do fingers right, bro. In 3 months, they got it right.
yeah.
To me, that's like technology.
Scary.
Technology is advancing at an exponential rate, where it could be in our life. Okay, let's think creative, right? Like, let's not think of Neuralink what it is right now. Let's think of Neuralink as what it could be.
True.
It's literally.
yeah. Obviously,
Yeah.
Neuralink right now is not worth it because straight up, it's only in developmental phases, and like anyone with a smart brain that's not disabled will not get Neuralink because it's too expensive. It's too impractical.
Right.
There's no infrastructure for it.
Yeah, it's
There's
like
there's no-
the invention of the first airplane.
exactly.
It's
Invention of the
like
first
that.
airplane, invention of the first Tesla.
Yeah.
Like, but let's think about Neuralink in the terms of if it was widely adopted and has the infrastructure, it has the
Adaptation.
it has the cultural acceptance. It has all that into it. It's more so a question of will you butt against cultural acceptance as well as the what's the word I'm looking for? The technical, obviously the objective advantages of Neuralink compared to if you wanted to be
Waddle so
versus your morality of
So
being
drunk, I can
completely
tell.
organic or completely biological.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm
Really
curious
sucks.
is like,
Fucking wild.
you know what it feels like to access technology.
Yeah.
You feel it in your fingers, you feel it in your eyes, you feel it in your brain,
Yeah.
right? What is it to access something like learning entire 1,000 pages of something at 1 second. I actually don't. I think that's like the biggest limiting factor. It's not the technology itself. It's like how do we merge?
Yeah, exactly. It's our
humanity.
It's humanity.
Yeah, like how like I feel like there's a sense that they're missing the biological side. Like you can make as fast compute as physically possible, and there is a physical limit on how fast you can make compute.
That is speed of light.
No, it's some calc. But there is.
It depends on the type of data that you're trying to calculate.
No, like there's a physical
time calculation.
Yeah, there's a physical compute limit that I think we're only like 50% there in terms of like efficiency and reaching that max.
Because when I think of data speed, I think of the speed of light or the speed of sound, and that's kind of what I'm measuring it. But anyways,
speed of light is distance.
Yeah.
It also depends on what data you're trying to configure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but then the biological side is like, can you biologically or with enhanced biologics interpret all of that?
Exactly.
Because if not, then it's not.
I'm sure it's possible.
I think the most valuable thing between a technical person and a layman's person is that the technical side is able to communicate it well enough for a layman to understand. And I would like to imagine that if you had a Neuralink chip inside of you, and if you want to go one step further, that Neuralink has access to AI and is able to
dumb
down this data that it has collected over 1,000-page essay or 1,000-page test.
That's actually
it should be able to tell you in the language that you're able to understand what you want to know out of it.
But isn't that still the bottleneck? Is your ability to comprehend?
Exactly.
That is still like.
Oh, I can see what you mean.
Yeah.
If you're dumb as rocks, you're dumb as rocks.
No, but like even not dumb as rocks. Like, have you learned that much information in that short of time in your lifetime?
But you could.
But here's
that's the thing. Can you? That's the question.
No. Well, how I imagine Neuralink is going to be like something like some sort of like scientific dystopian world, right? Where you can either upload your memory or enhancements to your own brain, because obviously your brain is kind of like enhancements to your own body, right? You can enhance your brain to the point where you can comprehend it, because all your brain is really just circuitry, right? Biological circuitry. So in the way you can kind of put upgrades to your computer, you can put upgrades to your brain. Obviously to a limit. There's always going to be a limit, because in the same way that there's always going to be a limit to your physical infrastructure of your computer, of your CPU. Because, a 10-year-old CPU that collects dust and eventually the minerals break down is going to that's going to have a biological factor in your brain. How I view Neuralink is that it can also increase your capacity to learn as well as comprehend, because it's like kind of like adding memory or RAM to a CPU in the way that adding memory or RAM to your brain. That's how I envision the future of Neuralink. Obviously, it's not now.
Yeah, no, but you're right though, because that's exactly what Neuralink is. Like, if you read the papers, that's what Neuralink is supposed to do. It's supposed to send shock waves, electrical shock waves to your brain, even in places where maybe the waves aren't reaching. So it's supposed to increase your capacity for God knows what it can do, right? So, for instance, when you're blind or whatever, the fact that it shoots electrical nerves that allow you to see the blind
or paralyzed.
So it can also work on your capacity too, your frontal cortex and all that other stuff to help you understand things. Because whenever you're dealing with a learning deficiency, it's really just neurons and shit not reaching the brain properly, or maybe the growth of the brain is not proper.
That's what I think you might say.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I was gonna guess that you're gonna say that the way that Neuralink currently works is that that the chip consistently fires at a specific location in your brain. It tries to receive that information and make sense of it and go back.
So
versus necessarily creating new neural pathways.
The example you're making is going from disabled to abled, right? So we understand disabled and we understand abled, but we don't understand super abled.
Yeah. So I would love to be super able.
Oh my god, it's limitless.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Because
limitless. I'll take the limitless.
Yeah, because that's truly the question. Is that like we've never experienced that high level of comprehension, right? Maybe from one person to another, there is a difference between that comprehension.
So hold on. That argument assumes something that's not that's unfounded.
Can I say something?
Okay,
maybe our interpretation of super abled could be something that is not what's the word, common orthodoxy.
Yeah.
In the way that schizophrenia is labeled schizophrenia, but it could be super abled or like whatever mental condition could be. But obviously, since they have to operate within our low IQ framework or a sort of mental framework, they're outside of this.
Right.
Like schizophrenia could be their super ableness, or could be obviously the opposite. But like,
So I'm gonna frame that a little bit differently then, because I think this is a better way to perceive it. Perhaps when you're talking about the super ableness to do something, maybe it's just we've had the capacity to do it in the beginning anyways. We just haven't unlocked that area. So this neural link is almost like, have you ever seen those cars with those when you stage one it, when you just have this little device to really open and maximize whatever the hell you have, your engine? Maybe that's what Neuralink is. It's just maybe we're not using the full capacity of our brain, which most people say is like 10-15%. But this neural link just opens it up to maybe accept 30%, 40%. And so because of our current understanding, we perceive that as super, but really we're just unlocking our potential that we already have there. So that's how I kind of see Neuralink. It's just opening a potential that we haven't touched yet, or if we're deficient in one way, it helps equalize that to a certain norm, whatever the hell you want to standardize that as, right? So that's how I view Neuralink. It's not an addition, but more so an unlocking.
I see.
So it just removes deficiencies rather than adds on certain things.
I actually see more of the argument of studying like autistic people and other stuff to see what makes them able to do a specific task better. And then that's our template of going from able to super able. I actually see that as being a potential. But I guess maybe I'm too much of a Debbie Downer or realist, but I always see like a lot of people likes to talk about how it can become through science fiction and fantasy, but I actually like to look at it and be like, what's the actual legitimate science behind it? And then sometimes that's the block for me. I'm like,
it is.
I don't see it. Like people like to dream and talk about that stuff, and some of the stuff people dream and talk about, I actually see the vision behind it, whereas like I actually know the exact science, and the science is proven. It's just not done properly.
That's why I like to condense it back to just it's a removal of your deficiency, and whatever your true potential is, we don't know yet. But I know for sure if you didn't have a learning disability, you could have been a lot farther than where you are now. If you had a disability, you'll be a lot farther than what you were now. I don't know that potential, but just removing deficiency. What if I didn't have anxiety? What if I had self-confidence? Like an extreme amount of self-confidence, right? What if I had all these things? Who knows what I would have been able to achieve?
I mean, it would be interesting.
You know what I mean?
Because at that point you would... Like I said, I always like to think about the practicality, right? So what you would do is you would take someone who's super confident, go through their brainwaves, see exactly where they're different from someone who's not confident, right? And then target those exact things to try to create a stimulus similar to neurons firing to try to replicate that. That would be very potential. I guess what I've always worried about is like the very far end of what we're thinking of is like the whole like crazy super comprehension part. It's like no one's there, or no one has that, or no one we know scientifically has that. Like I said, the whole autism thing could be a way that they would explore that. And then that's how they would practically do it. Like I guess, like once it becomes a bit more practical, once there's, the actual science to it, then I kind of start to like see it a bit better.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like...
Can I say something? I want to add to your point. A lot of... Okay, let's talk about lifting weights, for example. A lot of what people think lifting weights is about physical muscles. But a lot of it is again psychological, but also your central nervous system. So having an efficient central nervous system can actually make you lift more, because a lot of the reason why you're not able to lift more is because of either an inefficient central nervous system or a mental block, because we all have a mental block saying we can't do this because it's going to injure us or hurt us. So for example, a lot of Chinese Olympic lifters, they're a lot smaller than the weights they lift, but the fact that their central nervous systems are so efficient, and their
mentality.
It's I don't want to call it mentality, because it kind of takes away from the scientific aspects of it. But I want to say the central nervous system, because it does connect a real physical force to an actual result. So by the fact that we have really efficient central nervous systems, we are able to lift or do crazy athletic things that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to, at least from a muscle or physiological perspective. But the fact that our central nervous systems are really efficient is the way that we're able to do it. So it's kind of plays into your unlocking potential part.
Yeah, I agree. That's the main part. I think it unlocks potential.
Yeah.
Doesn't add on.
Yeah.
I would agree. I was going to ask you what you meant by the limitations that we have with our CNS. But then after you went into the Chinese and how they do things, I did read somewhere that the Chinese, when they do bodybuilding, maybe not everyone is Chinese, but it is some sort of Chinese methodology, that they don't focus on, like, if we saw a clip of a Chinese person working out right now, we would potentially say, hey, your form's fucking whack. Like, you're literally doing this too fast. You're using too many dynamic movements. You're using too much momentum. But in their methodology, they think that this is exactly how you should do it, because you work all these micro muscles this way. You technically push your limitations when you have to cheat a little bit, like if you're doing a back workout over anything else. So they like to dip into that side of methodology. But if you went all the way to America, you would say, like,
you have to
form is shit, dude.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do this rigid. There's a form of rigidity and a form of traditionalism in Western bodybuilding / powerlifting.
But if you like compared the two bodybuilders side by side, you could say that they both gained the same amount of muscle, and to a degree, they both had the same amount of education or knowledge when it comes to working out, but they have two completely different methods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yup. Because a lot of part of even just everything in life is physical and mental.
Oh, no shit. Really?
Yeah, I know. It's almost like we're learning, like,
Actually, they're spiritual.
Oh, yeah, and spiritual. Oh, shit, come to the triangle.
Who lives life through spiritual?
Bro,
some people really do.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of works for them,
Insulted
too.
all the monks in the fucking
Yeah, exactly. And it
They
works for
use
them.
their mind still.
No, but I
gotta
mean,
eat.
if
That's
you're
a mind thing.
if you're somewhere very sincere and peaceful, or serene and peaceful, you do feel different, and that's that's
fair.
outside of physical or mental.
Yeah, exactly. It's all
That's
physical
fair.
or mental. Because when I think of mental, I think of within the self.
Yeah.
But when I think of spiritual, I think of, like, spiritual. Like there's something out there, but not obviously it can't be explained with
Greater
science.
than itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like spirituality is like the parasite. I say parasite in the most respectful term, as in, like, it can't exist without the mind or the body. It has to attach on that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
You
Yeah, that's
can't-
kind of
you can live body, because you see a lot of people walking around here aimlessly.
How it
They'll
goes.
live.
How it goes. They do not have a mind, nor do they have a body, but they have
You
a
don't
spirit.
even know
I
if
had
they
this
exist,
debate
though.
with friends for quite a while.
Yeah. But, like, people who are super smart, like, they're not the most physically fucking able to, but they still live life, right? But I've never seen someone who just purely from spirituality. It has to be, to me, spirituality is almost like a privilege.
Spirituality.
You need to have the body and the mind to have the spirituality.
Something that is 100% spiritual is a ghost. Something that's 100% mental is a computer, and the 100% something that's 100% physical is a machine. So that's how I see it.
Oh shit, that's pretty good.
That's an interesting
Yeah, like
distinction.
I mean, like obviously we're like a mix of both, or
a
not
mix of
both,
all
but
three.
all three. Yeah.
What would you think about those monks that go to extreme lengths, but they're able to withstand it because they're in some deep level state of
Zen or whatever.
Zen or whatever
like
it is.
enlightenment.
Like they'll fucking set themselves on fire, or they'll go more days than what we would medically think would be possible for a human being to stand without food. They're able to do that, set themselves on fire, go on starvation, sit in a fucking cave or whatever the fuck for weeks, months, and be able to do that. And their physical side is deteriorating like fucking crazy, but their spiritual side is gaining whatever benefits that we can't even comprehend.
You want to say something, or I'll say something, Jonathan?
I'm gonna say the most straightforward answer: spiritual and mental. That's it.
Oh, I was gonna say, David Blaine answered this question already. It's physical conditioning and mentalness. He found a way to train himself to slow his heartbeat, for instance, so he doesn't have to use as much resources. That's how he's able to like stay underwater for God knows how long, or trapped in ice. But like you can do it through physical training and like mental discipline, not necessarily spirituality. So that's my only counter. Not to say that spirituality doesn't have its place in this world. I'm not trying to downgrade it. I'm just saying that there is a physical and scientific answer. I believe there is a scientific and physical answer to that.
No, there is, but the motivation is the spiritual. What motivates them to do that?
I mean,
the spiritual
David
part,
Blaine's motivation was money, and he. So, I mean, like,
So that could be the spirit part. Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of other extremists, Charlie Chaplin and all those other people had that too. So I do think that there is an explanation. There is already evidence of one's physical ability to kind of reduce fucking essential functioning parts of your body. I don't know how, but apparently there is. So I do believe that if you do something like that to its extreme form, you can withstand things like, going without eating for X amount of days, weeks, and shit.
Like how it works is the physical, mental side. It's just like what motivates them to do that is the crazy part, right?
So the spirituality, I mean, like you mentioned, the burning monk. The last monk I learned that was burning was the Vietnamese monk who like tried to protest the war, and he didn't survive.
Yeah, they don't survive that one.
Dead.
I don't think.
Clearly you'll die eventually. Like that's without question. But I feel like they will.
No, like they died doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, the strength.
But they will reach a level of enlightenment that we probably will never understand.
Yeah, it's true.
All right.
It's like when you take DHT or some shit. They probably get to that naturally.
I'll never understand someone lighting themselves on fire and
we're gonna call this off, and just because it's
eternally not screaming.
Yeah.
just because it's getting late.
Just act fucking cool.
Just because it's getting late, I'm gonna call this off, and then we'll do.
All right. Well, thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, no
Thanks
problem.
for listening to us ramble, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
this is
just
the most
2 hours
fun.
of just rambling about. All right, cool. Thanks,
to be
guys.
fair, we're under the influence, so this isn't the the modus operandi of this operation. All right, guys.
I think I'm pretty good. I think me and Viv might be pretty kosher right now, but yeah.
Okay. My bad. We're on our own little island.
But it's good. It's fun. It's fun to hear people on their islands. All right. Thank
Thanks
you.
for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.